All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Star Trek Prelude. This is a Star Trek Adventures actual play. Um, we are going to be the crew of the USS Challenger NX-03. The setting for this is just after the formation of the Federation, which actually means that there's a talk. If you could change that date to 2172, that would be great, rather than the one that I erroneously gave you. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go around in clockwise order. I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves real quick, say who their character is. Please give me, the name of your character's species, your position on the ship, and then if you have, a fun fact about your character, feel free to share that, and we'll move on. And we're going to start with Maddie, who's playing Lieutenant Asha.
Hi. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Maddie. You can find me here on the internet playing TTRPGs and doing science communication. Science communication is at Science Side Up. And today I am playing. I'm Lieutenant Asha. I'm the new science officer, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm Denobulan, and I've never been a senior staff before, and I'm kind of nervous about it.
Okay. Next, Bakery.
I don't know how long this is going to keep working. I am playing Alexandria Winters. I am the Chief Security Officer. I am former Mako. I know how to fight. I know how to get punched. I don't know how to do a lot else.
And what is your species, even if it is a little bit obvious?
I'm a human from the Luna colony of New Berlin.
Nice. All right, and Robert.
Hi, Robert. Today I'm playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Buford Ford Branson, helmsman and pilot of the NX-03 Challenger. Buford's a young upstart, and if it can fly, he's your guy.
All right, and a human, I presume.
Yes.
Okay. Jordan.
I am Captain Sitok, the Vulcan commander of the Challenger. I have undergone the ritual of Kolinar, which allows me to have purged my emotions, which of course is the ideal trait you want in a commanding officer. There is no such thing as too strict adherence to the rules, because if the regulations are followed, everything will go according to plan.
Always, obviously.
It's only logical.
Of course. And Chesh.
Hello, I am Dr. Skig. I go by Doctor. I am the chief medical officer. I am in line with the captain 100% that the processes need to be followed strictly and checked all the boxes and be as precise as possible at all times.
And your species is?
I'm a Tellarite.
All right. So, I am, of course, I'm Dapper. I am the GM for this. And we are going to be going through a mission called A Cure Worse Than the Disease. I will be making a few modifications to tie this into later things I'm going to be doing with Star Trek Adventures that no one gets to know about except for me. So, there you go. We're going to start with Act 1, and Captain Sitok, if you could read the captain's log for us, please.
Captain's log, February 6, 2172. We've received a distress signal from the planetary government of Fosteran II, a Class M world boasting a major population of humanoids. The automated message, recorded by a planetary regent named Tressa Zemeline, asked for urgent help in responding to a virulent plague sweeping the planet. The Fosterians are known to be a technologically advanced race, though they follow a strict policy of isolationism, making this plea for off-world help highly irregular. We've set course and intend to render aid if possible.
All right, so the first scene, we open up on the bridge. You have assembled your senior staff to discuss any concerns, to figure out if anyone has any information about the current mission, what your plans are going to be for when you get there, which you all know that plans will always change when you actually encounter resistance, but still they're a good thing to have. So this is a great opportunity for some initial setup, some roleplay, and there might be a few minor tasks here and there. So we're we're going to start with Captain Sidok. You've called everyone to the bridge for a little bit of a meeting. So what do you have to say to your assembled senior officers?
Thank you for assembling, and thank you, Dr. Skig, for the safety message, which is required at the beginning of all meetings. To start this conference, I would like a report, Dr. Skig, on the status of our sick bay.
Status of the sick bay. Currently, Captain is clear and ready to go. We've made sure to take extra precaution to make sure everything has been double-checked and rechecked. All of our equipment is up and ready, cleaned, verified, sterilized.
Excellent work, Dr. Skig. I expect nothing less. Lieutenant Asha, do you have any research you'd like to share on this outbreak of the virus?
Asha has like a stack of pads that is this high and is precariously balanced, right? It is, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, so I went through, and she's like throwing some over her shoulder, and this one, yes, okay, so I found a bunch of research from Starfleet Medical. I was going through all of that, and I also pulled it from the Vulcan Science Council, and I on like plagues and things that have like been seen in this region and everything we know about these like people. I definitely spent the last 5 hours straight reading up on the xenobiology. And so I think I've got a good basis, and I have our lab is like cleared out and ready to go for doing like bio stuff. So I think I'm as prepared as I can be.
All right, I want to point out that the most important thing that you seem to have found in your research there, Lieutenant Asha, is in fact the transcript of the Vulcan survey vessel Tamira, which actually records first contact with the Fostarians. And if you're interested, crew, I will read it for you so you know how first contact went, basically.
Please do.
All right, so this is ship's log, Vulcan survey vessel Tamira. As we approach the Fostarian star system as part of our survey mission of this sector, we approached the Fosteran star system as part of our survey mission of this sector. However, before we could enter the system and commence in-depth scans, we received an audio-only subspace radio transmission from an individual identifying himself as the planetary leader of Fosteran II. The Fostarian leader stuck a rather threatening tone before demanding that we keep our distance and respect his civilization's wish to remain isolated. We were allowed only a brief conversation before the regent cut the transmission. Rather than risk a botched first contact, we decided to comply with the Fostarians' demand and rerouted our course to avoid the area. Judging by the Fostarians' ability to detect our approach and their use of subspace radio, it seems logical to conclude that they possess some form of advanced technology. We had time to conduct only a cursory sensor sweep. Sorry, it's a Vulcan. Only a cursory sensor sweep, which confirmed the Fostarian transmission originated from the system's second planet, a ringed Minshara-class world. Perhaps in time we will be able to learn more of this hermit civilization. End recording and file with the Vulcan Science Directorate.
So there's not much on them, but that's what we've got.
Understood, Lieutenant. Please be prepared to solve not only the virus problem, but also to gather as much data as you can on the planet and the civilization. Mr. Ford.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long do we have
Captain.
until we arrive at our destination?
You have a few hours.
How long do?
It's a few
A few hours, Captain.
A few hours, Mr. Ford?
Four. It's 4.
Thank you. 4 hours. Sorry, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Mr. It's Whiters?
I think it's Witters.
Whitters? Okay. Sitok would know. Whatever was on the forms, not what he said.
Right, obviously.
Right. Mr. Whitters, is security prepared to deal with possible civil disturbances?
And Vader, you are currently muted.
Yes, I've spoken to the various team leaders. He gives a slight slug. There's not a lot we can plan specifically until we get into orbit and get some eyes on the situation, but I've briefed the various squad leaders that we need to be prepared to potentially aid local forces in maintaining order.
Excellent. Crew, I want you to be aware that this will be the de facto first contact between our civilizations and their own. It is our responsibility to ensure this goes smoothly and according to all procedures.
All right.
I have a question for the GM.
Yes.
Are we within long range? What I would like to do is, as soon as we're within like long range sensor range, start scanning the system, especially for like transmissions, even if I'm looking for the equivalent of like a TV signal, just anything that would tell us anything about this society.
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to be having an opportunity for a sensor scan coming up in the very near future in terms of actual game time. It'll still be a few hours in terms of like in-universe, but yeah, I will let you know that there is a time coming up for you to make a sensor sweep as the science officer. Don't worry. But
Okay,
first,
awesome.
what I would like to do is, Ford, you are our ship's pilot, are you not?
I am.
Would you please make me a control con roll?
And that would be me, not like using the ship.
The ship can assist, so anyone who would like to, I'll just randomly decide who, I guess. No, I won't, because I don't have any d6s handy that aren't challenge dice. We'll just start going in a circle. So, Maddie, if you could take the ship's character sheet and give it a, what is it? A engines and engines con roll. That would be great. And let's see what we get from Ford.
I just reiterate, it was a control con.
Yes, control con.
Uh,
All right.
there we go. Engines, con, and boom.
All right. Well, it's only one, but I'm going to take the first one.
Okay, sorry.
The ship is usually only rolling one, because you get an assist from the ship. Assist rolls only roll one die. However, that does mean that you guys have successfully managed to navigate to the edge of the Fosteran system, and in doing so, generated 3 momentum for yourselves. Because this was, in fact, a difficulty 0 task, which I like to start out missions with 1 or 2 of those in order to just build up some momentum. So.
Nice. Okay. Is momentum an individual or a group resource?
It is a group resource. You currently have 3 points of it. You do not need to ask permission, although you may seek advice from your crewmates before spending momentum.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are approaching into visual range. If you are watching the actual watch link, there will be a video for that. And as you approach, you notice that there is, in fact, a ring around the planet. But as you get closer, you realize this ring is not a natural formation. It is, in fact, a gigantic megastructure that encircles the entire planet.
Fascinating.
That's not up to code.
Oh, I wonder if that's like power generation or maybe habitat. Huh.
All right. Let's see.
It's impressive regardless.
Now, Lieutenant Aship, because you were asking about sensors, if you would like to, you can make a reason in engineering or reason in science check. This is going to be a difficulty 1. Oh,
Excellent. Okay.
And someone else, if you would like, you can roll sensors and science as the ship's assist.
That should definitely.
I'm sorry. It was. Oh, sorry. This is a ship roll. So it's sensors and science. Okay. Amazing. Question: does my cultural flexibility talent apply when I attempt a task to learn about an unfamiliar culture? I can reduce the difficulty by 1.
Not in this case.
Not in this case. Okay. So starship task roll.
All right. Well, again, it should only be 1 on the starship, but we're going to count that as a 0.
I'm sorry. Is there a?
Yes, the number. Next.
If you look at task roll,
Yeah.
It's set to 1 and it's rolling 2?
It's set to 1 and it's rolling 2.
I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm always going to take the leftmost
Weird.
one. So, and then for
Okay,
your own
that's
character.
Okay. Does Asha need to roll something too?
Yes. Asha needs to roll a reason engineering or reason science, whichever one you think would be better for you.
Amazing. Science, please.
Okay, so that's going to be 2 dice, unless you want to spend momentum to get extra dice.
Does xenobiology apply?
Let me double check what this is going to be. Not in this case.
Okay, what about astronomy?
No.
Okay. Just, hey, you gotta ask.
Oh, you absolutely do.
So, task roll, and I roll 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Well, so you have not only succeeded, but you've generated bonus momentum. I will describe what that means in just a second. So first, you realize that the ring is composed of massive sheets of duranium on the outer surface of the ring, and that the inner surface actually features these stone structures. They're shaped sort of like obelisks a little bit, although they don't all have exactly the same shape, and you are not sure what they do. However, with your bonus momentum, you can either gain more information from the same scan, or you can bank it for later use by the group.
Would my question about also looking for, basically local radio transmissions, to pick up communication chatter, would that be a part of this role, or would that be a different role?
So that would probably be part of this role if there is such things to check on, and using that bonus momentum for additional information would probably let you know if that is the case.
That's what I would like to do then.
Make it so.
All right, so you also realize that the stone structures are somehow emitting large amounts of gamma radiation directed at the planet, and you detect numerous life signs in various compartments inside the ring.
Okay. Captain, those stones are emitting a startling amount of gamma radiation directed at the planet. And there's a significant number of life signs on the ring, so it does look like this is. Are there life signs on the planet, GM?
Yes.
Okay, so there's life signs on the ring and on the planet, but that's a concerning amount of gamma radiation.
Interesting. Have we received any communications from the planet?
As you ask, the little receiving a hail chime comes in, and you are, in fact, receiving a hail right now from the planet.
Open a channel.
All right. On screen appears a woman with some kind of mask that looks like it might be some kind of radiation shield, although it's delicately filigreed with gold patterns, which makes it look quite fancy for a radiation shield. Who says, I'm Regent Zamerline. Thank you for responding to our distress call. We're not terribly comfortable with outsiders, but if you could come down to the capital city, we could discuss how you could assist us if you're willing to. We are in a bit of a crisis with this spreading disease.
You said her name was, what her title was, Regent?
Yes.
Understood, Regent. I am Captain Sitok of the Challenger, and we are here to render any aid that we are able to and that you feel comfortable receiving.
Thank you. I will send coordinates, and you can send a shuttle down if you'd like.
We will do so.
All right. At that point, she cuts off the communication, and do be aware that, you are about to beam down to a plague-ravaged, or not beam down, but shuttle down to a plague-ravaged planet that is being bombarded by gamma rays. So,
okay. How many people are going on this away mission? Is there a standard operating procedure?
So it's basically anyone you think would be good to have on the mission. However, I mean, the default for most Star Trek is just you take the people who are main characters because that's how the show works.
Right.
So, you probably want to bring your scientist. You probably want to bring your doctor. You might want to bring your security guy, and you probably want to have your pilot piloting the shuttle pod.
All of those sound like excellent suggestions. So I will name off Lieutenant Asha, Mr. Branson, Dr. Skig, and Mr. Witters to come to provide security, leaving the con in the hand of my capable and unnamed first officer.
Okay. And by the way, if you need the officer to actually have a name, there's a system in this game called supporting characters where we can
we
whip
call him
up.
Greg?
We could. This game allows us to whip up supporting characters in just a couple minutes, and then they can actually enter the scene and do things. So it's a very handy thing because, like you see in Star Trek, right? You have your main characters, but then you have those characters who come around once in a while. You know, like your
Lieutenant Broccoli.
Yeah, like Lieutenant Broccoli.
Mr. Greg, you have the con.
Aye, Captain, says Mr. Greg, the first officer, who has now been named Greg, which I like to think is his last name because you just called him Mr. Greg.
Yes, it's definitely his last name.
Okay. So, you guys, are you going to be taking any additional precautions?
So that'd be up to, I defer to the science officer and the doctor on that point.
So you have some options, I'm going to tell you, as both doctors and science officer. So one is that you guys do have EVA suits, which are shielded against most spaceborne radiation, at least for limited exposure. You do also have the ability to develop some inoculation that can stave off radiation sickness if you want to take the time to do that in sickbay. The advantage of using a medicine to do this rather than the EVA suits is that even if there's a breach in the EVA suit, the medicine will remain effective. However, it will take time. Also, the EVA suits can protect you from any viruses that might be around because they will have filters and their own internal air supply.
As medical officer, I would recommend taking the additional time specifically because our science officer specified that this was unusually high, concerningly high levels of radiation.
Captain Sitok will defer to the expertise of those under him. We will send a hail to the planet to let them know the timeline once we are aware of it.
Okay. So, I just want to make clear. Is the plan EVA suits, medicine, or nothing?
Medicine, I think, is
okay.
Well, should we also bring the EVA suits?
You can do both, yeah.
I think we should probably do both.
Can I just, because I don't think that an inoculation against the radiation poisoning would protect us from catching the plague?
Correct.
So, are we going to protect ourselves from catching the plague?
EVA suits.
We don't really. The EVA suits will help with that, but we don't know what this plague is or what is causing it or really anything about it. So there's not really a whole ton we can do outside of, masking up. Perhaps we can develop a
vaccines.
vaccine.
Very effective at preventing airborne illnesses from spreading.
Yes.
Sorry, that was Maddie gasping. I have to get an accessory, and I will be right back.
Okay, cool. I'll remove you.
I don't know if I'm interrupting because you're all.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Robots.
We're robots.
I'm probably going to have to drop.
Oh no!
Internet trouble. That's so sad.
Yeah, I've been disconnected 3 times, and I'm getting nothing from most of you.
That sucks.
I'm sorry.
Is that a Star Trek mask?
It sure is.
And it's the correct. It's Ash's rank.
Yep. Correct color, correct rank.
Yeah, that I happened to have. I had this before I made Asha.
Weirdly convenient.
Isn't it? Can you hear me okay with my mask on?
No, you sound great.
Okay.
All right, so
I'm going to wear it while we are in to represent EVA suits.
nice.
So I think our plan is to take the science officer is recommending we take the EVA suits, and the medical officer is recommending we take the time to do the inoculation as well. So I think we're going to take the time and do both.
Yep. All right, so what I would like to do
is that correct, Captain?
If something is worth doing, it is worth doing precisely.
Agreed.
All right, so what I would like to get is a reason and medicine task from Dr. Skig And if someone would like to, they can also help out with their own reason and medicine task. But I'm only going to let one person help with that if someone wants to. But also, this will be assisted by the ship's computer and medicine. Because this is being
My
done
reason and medicine would be 13, unless someone can beat that.
I mean, Lieutenant
How
Asher might be able to.
How do I add the
No, my medicine's
support?
only a 2, so my reason and medicine's a 12.
How do I add the support to the roll?
So you take your roll, and
Okay.
I'll say, Robert, why don't you use the ship and roll a computer's medicine check, and then Jordan, you can take 1 die and roll your own reason medicine check.
And I'm just rolling the task roll with the 1, not with the 2, correct?
You're rolling it with 2 dice.
I am rolling it with 2 dice. Okay, I thought that might be the case. All right, and this is reason medicine. Okay, that.
All right. My reason plus medicine is 13, and I got a 5.
Okay, so that is a success. And Robert, did you get the ship?
Yes, it did. It was 2 successes.
Well, it technically can't be. I don't know why that keeps happening. My next one is 2, which means that we actually ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Wow. There's not really a whole lot that you can do to improve this. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put 4 more momentum down.
Ooh, our momentum's maxed.
It is 1 shy of maxed. However,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, now that you've all assembled in the shuttle bay and are getting into your shuttle pod, it is in fact the end of the scene, which means I reduce your momentum pool by 1.
Aw.
But that's okay. You still
Damn,
have...
we're cheating.
How much momentum do we have?
Let's see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5?
I'm actually counting
Yeah.
6, but that's okay. I'm going to go with 6.
I believe the DM, 6.
Yeah.
Oh.
He cheated against us, and then he cheated in our favor. Balanced out.
All right, so you guys are in the shuttle pod. Let's see. Ford, why don't you take a control con roll for this one?
Yep.
All right. So you have generated 1 point of momentum. If you would like, you can bank it, or if you would like, you can make it so that you arrive a little bit earlier than expected to make sure that everyone's there on time and whatnot to make up for some of the delay from the getting the inoculation against the radiation.
I'd actually like to pose this to the captain. Captain Sitok, I've managed to chart a good course. We'd actually get there ahead of schedule. But I want to know if that's appropriate, because sometimes being too early is a problem as opposed to being too late.
We're not aware of any societal norms against being too early in this society, and given the emergency nature of this plague, I think earlier is better.
Okay.
Then I'd be inclined to go ahead and get us there early.
All right. So
Maximum speed, Mr. Branson.
So you guys get there with plenty of time to spare. You're directed to a little landing pad, and your shuttle pod touches down very gently, and you are ushered into a big domed city. So inside this city, you can see various buildings. It looks like some are probably factories, residential buildings. There are a few places with some manicured little garden areas, and you are led to a rather ornate-looking building. And as you look up into the sky as you're on your way to this ornate, governmental-looking building, you can see the ring towering above you, crossing over the sky, just a little bit to your south, because you are just ever slightly to the north of the equator, and you can see a tether that's coming down from the ring. It's so small, that it's so thin that you probably couldn't have seen it from orbit, but now that it's relatively close to you, it's actually a fairly thick cable that's actually connecting to the surface of the planet, presumably right on the equator, because that's how space elevators work. So, yeah. Once you enter the rather ornate building, you see the woman that you saw before, and standing next to her is another woman who has a more modest radiation shield. And one thing that you do notice is that basically all of the Fostarians you've seen have been completely hairless, but the woman who's standing next to the Regent has a full head of brown hair that is about shoulder length, and has a little bit of styling going on. She's clearly taking care of this hair. So, Planetary Regent Trestra Zamerline welcomes you to an expansive hall under the clear dome. So, let's see. She says... Oh, I have to find the actual quote. Okay, so she says, this is Immuticorp CEO Valestra Thalasson. She is in charge of our largest corporation and the one that provides the anti-radiation medicine that the whole planet needs to stay safe. They also run a large number of the farms and water treatment facilities on the planet, and so she is someone who I consult with on most matters of planetary importance.
Can you repeat her name, Dapper?
Yes, it is Valastra Lasson.
Two V's. Her initials are VV.
No, Thalasson. It's a dental fricative, not a labial fricative. It's also unvoiced.
But you're not a linguist, though.
No, not a
Nobody
linguist.
look at my attempts to spell this in the live chat, please.
I mean, it
beg
doesn't
of you.
actually matter how you spell it because it's some weird alien language. It probably has its own writing system. But don't worry about it.
I did my best.
Asha's gonna worry about everything.
Okay.
So
the regent addresses herself to the captain. My planet, as you might have noticed from your scans, has 3 main continents, and we are currently the only continent that is not seeing a widespread outbreak yet, but there have been a few reported cases on the outlying islands between here and the nearest continent. So we suspect that the disease is approaching, and possibly quickly. If it's at all possible, if you could coordinate with Immuticorp, who are already researching this virus, that would be very helpful. And at that point, Valastra pops in and says, you know, I don't actually think that we need the help of these off-worlders. It was people from off-world that gave us this plague in the first place centuries ago.
This plague is centuries old.
Yes, says the regent. In fact,
This plague is from off-planet.
Yes. Several centuries ago, my planet developed faster-than-light travel, and we sent some of our first exploratory missions out. But unfortunately, one of them brought back some kind of virulent disease that spread across the planet and threatened the extinction of my whole people. Immuticorp, which is now, of course, run by Miss Thalasson here, created the ring and found that the virus was very susceptible to gamma radiation. And while we couldn't cure the virus, the ring was able to keep the virus in check via this gamma radiation, and Immuticorp was able to develop anti-radiation medicine that has been keeping my people alive, although there are still complications. And as a result of this, radiation also caused some problems with the environment and water, which is why Immuticorp also opened up several shielded indoor farms and water treatment facilities.
The doctor's going to lean over to the captain and say this would have some very serious, consequential long-term effect.
Yes, Lieutenant Asha?
Do you know from what species the virus came?
I don't have a record of what they call themselves. We just call it the Outlander virus.
I see. Can you provide... Sorry, go ahead.
I'd love to see any records you might have from that contact.
I'm sure I can have those sent to your ship, or at least to your shuttle pod.
That would be very useful information. As much information as we could get sent to specifically the medical bay for examination would be ideal.
Well, I was thinking that maybe you could coordinate with Immuticorp scientists on the ring, which is their location for their laboratories that they have studying this.
Our medical bay has additional off-world information that it is likely you don't have access to that may help with our research, but I definitely agree that we should cooperate.
Is there a place on the ring that allows for docking?
There is a place that will allow for docking of shuttle-scale craft. I don't think we could accommodate your entire ship.
But could we move the ship close to allow rapid transit between the two?
Oh, of course. You could put yourself in a station keeping near one of the docking bays, and then have a shuttle pod just dock right to it and come back to your ship. The regent turns to Velastra and says, "What's about the time for your docking procedures?" And she says, "Usually about 10-15 minutes to complete docking, pressure equalization, medical scans, and then so I guess round trip probably have a travel time of about 40-ish minutes."
Please provide those procedures to our pilot, Mr. Branson, who will follow them to the letter.
Absolutely. At which point, Velastra still says, "Regent, I really don't think it's completely necessary for these off-worlders to be helping with this. Immunicorp has been taking care of this virus for about 200 years now. I think we've got this." At which point, the regent says, "Well, clearly you don't, because hundreds of thousands of people are dying on the other two continents, and it looks like the disease is approaching here. So something has changed, and you don't seem to know what it is yet. And obviously, your gamma radiation isn't helping. So I'm the regent of the planet, and I'm going to say that you are going to give these aliens the help that they request. And if you have further concerns, you can speak to me about it."
As I'm hearing some of this, okay. Asha would like to, I genuinely want to try to research that first contact. So, above the board, guys, Asha is science officer who's also really good at engineering, not who's good at medicine, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to be super helpful in the medical research, but if I could research I would love to find a way to position myself to work with someone who is not an employee of Immunicorp, right? So I'm thinking if they've got a big old library, right, or an academic institution that
You want unfiltered information is what you're asking for, right?
Right. So I'm trying to get myself to be able to under the guise of researching, I want to work with someone who is not part of Immunicorp. So I don't want to go. I don't want to go to the ring.
I was thinking the same thing. So Captain Sitok, first of all, what I would like to do is try to use my skill in diplomacy to smooth over the conflict with the Mutacorp CEO, using logic to explain that the resources that my ship can bring to bear, and that while we respect the contributions she's had to the planet in the past, collaboration between different perspectives can only serve to help her people.
Well, why don't you take a presence command check, unless you have a good reason to request a different combination.
Oh, sounds good to me.
Can I help?
How are you going to help?
I might be able to help a little bit better, specifically because I would be the one working directly with the ring. With my insight in that if we get the information, as we are off-worlders, we may very well have far more information about whatever the original cause was, provided our lieutenant is provided information.
Why don't you take a presence medicine check there with only one die, Dr. Skig? So I want to, for rules purposes, for anyone watching or anyone here, the reason I changed it to medicine is because Dr. Skig was specifically talking about the medical expertise that she was bringing to the table. So basically, if you think that you have a reason to use a different combination, or I think your explanation for how you want to do a task uses a different combination of discipline and attribute, then you can either request a change, or I can offer up that change. And so what that means is that while Dr. Skig was not particularly helpful, it's okay, because with 2 successes, you have successfully persuaded Balastreth lesson to drop her various objections.
Hold on. Point of order. If my diplomacy focus applies, then one of those would have been a crit, because I got a 5.
Oh, yeah, in that case. So here's what you can do.
Well, actually, I don't know how to read the roll. I got a 4. Yeah, okay.
So there's also, when it comes up, there should be a... what is it?
I didn't check the focus thing. That was my bad.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that will mean that you also generate a point of momentum. So here's what you can do. You can either currently add this as a advantage, which means that you are basically able to say ingratiate yourself with the Immunicorp CEO, which can be later on in the scenario. That fact may help you, or you can put this as a point of momentum to just add to the pool if you would like.
Spend it, baby.
All right, you now have a
rapid momentum.
So let's see.
Hell yeah.
You now have an additional trait that is temporary only for this episode. Not that we're going to be doing another episode with this crew, but that's okay. That basically says that you have ingratiated yourself with the CEO of Immunicorp, and that will make her better disposed to listen to you in the future. However, you can lose that if you roll badly, or you severely go against her interests, things like that. Right? It's not necessarily permanent, but it is a long-term advantage that you have now.
Okay, so Captain Sitok is going to pull his people aside after having smoothed things over and provide orders. And if any of you think your character should do something different, just let me know. So, Lieutenant Asha, I would like you to investigate the first contact, as you suggested. Please do your best to filter through any biased information. If you have any difficulties, let me know. Dr. Skig, I would like you to return to the ring with Mr. Branson and investigate the medical side. Mr. Branson, I understand your specialty is piloting, but while you are on the ring, if you could do your best to ingratiate yourself with members of the community there. I have suspicions with a story given to us by the CEO, and I would like more information about what's going on behind the scenes.
And don't worry, sir. I'll put on the charm.
And what is the captain doing? Is he going up to the ring? Is he staying down here? Is he going back to the ship?
The captain is going to position himself near the regent, so he can coordinate efforts with her. What I'm trying to do is figure out, while my people are investigating, if there's any relief efforts the ship can be coordinating.
Okay. All right. So, sorry. Go ahead.
Can I speak to the regent?
Let's split up, gang.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually,
Split the party.
In this game, splitting up is not nearly as bad as it is in most circumstances.
Branson, it's you and I again.
Asha would like to speak to the regent, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Ma'am, I was wondering if there is someone in your society, a historian, or maybe someone in an academic circle who is your culture's expert on the previous first contact missions. I would love to speak with them and get their help in this research.
I mean, I suppose I could direct you towards the university. I mean,
that would be wonderful.
I don't personally know who you would want to talk to about that, but yeah. As this is happening, I'm going to go ahead and assume that Dr. Skig and Branson are off to the shuttle pod. As Maddie and Sitok are talking to the regent, a aide to the regent comes up and whispers something in her ear. She says, Captain, might we have assistance with another matter that has just come up?
Certainly. What does this matter?
Well, our security forces are already... our security and our engineering teams are already stretched quite thin, and a outlying water treatment facility seems to have broken down, and it's causing some civil unrest in the area, and I was wondering if you could perhaps, while we're trying to contain that, maybe spare some time to go and help repair the water treatment facility. I understand from, well, the reputation that we've heard when listening passively to Subspace that Starfleet has a reputation for having decent engineers.
Absolutely. I will.
I will
send
probably fix it, sir.
Well, aren't you researching the background though?
Yes, but the plot is telling me to go this way.
Fair enough.
If you would like, Captain, I can take over some of the research.
No, it's fine. So I'll task an engineering team to Lieutenant Asha.
Okay.
With instructions that this is a secondary priority and to delegate this task should it become necessary.
All right. So,
Yes, sir.
in that case, you are going to reduce the crew support from current of 4 to 3 because an engineering team does require 1 crew support. They will be able to provide Lieutenant Asha with support via their engineering and their various attributes. So don't worry too much about that. And also that will send another shuttle pod down. That's fine. And Sitok, would you like to go with her or would you like to stay with the Regent? What's your plan?
Because this sounds like there's going to be a diplomatic portion of this, I'll go with her.
Okay. So we are
Send me that professor.
we are going to cut to where the ring is. However, that is the end of an act, and I'm going to ask, does anyone need to take a quick break? You can use the bathroom, get a new drink, or anything like that. Looks like Dr.
Can I get a quick
Skig
drink
is
of water?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what we'll do. We'll take a quick break. I will send the next captain's log to Jordan, and when we get back, we can start with Jordan reading the next captain's log, and then we will go first to the ring, and then afterwards we will deal with the water treatment facility. And so in the meantime, please stay tuned. We're on a quick commercial break kind of thing. And we are back. All right. So it is Act 2. Captain, if you could read out your continuing log of this adventure.
Captain's log, supplemental. We've made contact with Regent Tresta Zameline, the planetary leader of Fosteran II. She's asked for our help in finding a cure to a viral plague that threatens the planet's entire population. To do so, we'll need to work with researchers at Immutacorp, a private company that constructed the artificial ring that bombards the planet with radiation. The ring was built centuries ago to eradicate the Outlander virus, but it appears the remedy is no longer effective.
All right, so Branson and Lieutenant Asha, you managed to dock successfully with the ring. Velociraptor Lasson went up in the...
it's me.
Oh, Skig and Branson. I'm
is
sorry.
going- yeah.
My apologies. I make mistakes.
I sent my Maverick with the other rule follower.
So yeah. Miss Lasson took a little pod on the cable connecting the ring to near the capital city up, and you guys took the shuttle so that you could get back and forth between the ship easily. Which means she was able to greet you at the docking port. And so she leads you into a large laboratory filled with advanced scientific instruments and computers. An enormous window takes up an entire wall of the lab, granting a sweeping view of the planet below. Armed security guards stand watch at all the lab's entrances, and a handful of technicians work at several other computer consoles. 3 Fosterians clad in hospital gowns sit on cots placed behind a shimmering force field. One is a elderly man. There's also a middle-aged woman and a young boy. And they all seem to be in excruciating pain and are lying in hospital beds, only occasionally seeming like they're conscious.
Damn it, Branson, you're a maverick. I do believe the best course of action would be to start whipping out the medical tricorder.
Okay. So Velociraptor comes and says, "Look, the shield may hinder your scans. However, we actually have a holographic interface that will allow you to holographically project inside the containment area without yourself coming into risk, and there is medical equipment in there that you can use to conduct whatever scans you need, and those will read out on our computer consoles so that we can transfer that data to you. But if you break containment, there's a very high chance that you may be infected."
Bro, that's sus as hell.
Very sus.
Please use our proprietary technology to examine our proprietary patients.
Okay, Steve Jobs. So,
I was say, okay, East India Company. Gee,
oh no.
right?
I will. Branson, do you mind taking a look at these computers? And I also want to take a look at the computers first to look at the readout they're currently getting.
So one of the things that you first see is that one, it has names for the patients. The elderly man is named Jalem, the woman is named Nelvia, and the little boy is named Xanodel. And they are all confirmed to be suffering from the Outlander virus. So they are also, you can see that from their vitals that they are in a pretty bad state. There is a fair chance that they are only have a few days left at most if you do not find some way to cure this virus. And they are continually slipping in and out of consciousness.
I think I'm going to tap my communicator and
You don't
get
have a
in
tap
touch.
communicator. You have a
We don't have a tap communicator?
You have a flip communicator.
What is
There's the flip phone.
What?
Yeah, that flip phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Da 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 da.
Take out the Nokia.
That flip thing is actually an antenna. That's how it works.
I'm gonna pull out my and I'm gonna contact the chief medical officer below me in medbay. And I am going to tell them to set up for a full quarantine area. I am then going to ask Branson. Branson, do you know about... Do we have teleporters? We have teleporters.
You do have a transporter system.
Do we
However,
have?
it is iffy because this is the
That's what I was
Enterprise
asking.
era.
Like, there's a force field here. Can we do? It,
Also, it's
you know what?
Enterprise era.
I'm gonna ask. Yeah, right. I'm gonna ask the.
Remember that episode of Enterprise where someone beamed back to the ship and was full of twigs, and then they died because their body was full of twigs?
Hey, look, these people are gonna die anyway. Like,
They have a couple. Yeah. Do they have? Do you have a safe way of transporting one or two of these people? Our ship's scanners have a lot more advanced, or at least Outlander technology for recognizing an Outlander virus.
I mean, we could clear the entire area and get a containment team.
And how long will that take?
I mean, it took hours to get them here in the first place. We would have to evacuate the entire path along the way, isolate the air systems there, evacuate that air, decontaminate it, refill those areas. I mean, it's a process.
Yeah, no doubt. Can we? What if we just do this area, take down the force field, and potentially transport them? Branson, is that something that would work?
Is the concern that you won't be able to use your own scanning technology? Because we can sterilize that and pass it through if needs be, if that's your concern. We can get that into the quarantine area.
That is certainly one of my concerns, but we might be able to treat people a little bit differently in our space. But yeah, here, I'll just hand them the tricorder, the medical tricorder.
Okay, so she takes it and gives it to one of the technicians, and she says, "Okay, get this through through sterilization and pass it through into the quarantine area." And then Dr. Skig, was it?
Yes.
If you would like, you can step over here to this console, and this will can activate the holographic interface. All right, so
smash that big red button.
you know those things like in like bank tellers where like you put something in a little drawer that pops out and you push it the other way and now it's through to the other side, and that way, you know, you can't just grab the bank teller or anything. There's one of those type things, and they place your medical tricorder in one of those, and there's a little like radiation thing. So they push it in a little bit. Some light comes on, and apparently irradiating the material to kill off any viruses or bacteria. And then it goes a little bit further forward, and now it's inside the quarantine area. And unless you're opting not to use the holographic interface.
No, I'll start with the holographic interface. If it seems to be interfering with my ability, I kind of want to try it. It seems neat.
So a hologram that looks actually like a Fosterian, which, by the way, they look very much like humans. And in fact, it looks like one of the Fosterians on the station. And as you've noticed, all the Fosterians who work on this ring don't wear the radiation shields that you saw down on the planet, and they do all seem to have full heads of hair. But not the patients. They don't. They're all
noted. Probably from all that radiation.
Probably.
Cool. I'm gonna.
So yeah, a Fosterian doctor appears in there, but you are the one who is controlling it. So as you look down, you no longer seem to be in your own Tellarite body. You are now in this Fosterian body, but you have full control.
God damn, I'm ugly. I'm gonna go and get my tricorder out.
Okay.
Beep boop boop boop.
So let's see. Let me double check what you can learn from these guys. All right, so this is initiating a gated challenge. So the way that a gated challenge works in Star Trek Adventures is there is a series of tasks that have to be completed, and they will usually have some kind of order, and it basically has like a flow chart, right? So it'll say like, okay, you have to do this task, then you have to do these two tasks, and then that'll each one will unlock a thing. This is a relatively short gated task. So the first one is going to be that you need to take a reason and medicine or reason and science task, and it's going to be difficulty 2. Now I will tell you.
How do I turn it into difficulty 2 by doing what?
It just is difficulty 2.
Oh, it just is.
I mean,
okay,
that's how many successes you need to be successful.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right. So you do not have access to your sick bay currently, which does mean that you are only getting to roll 2 dice unless you want to buy some. Now, you do have, let's see, 5 momentum that has been stored up. So if you would like, you can use the momentum to buy extra dice that you can.
Make it hail.
Got it. I do have 2 questions.
Okay.
I do have quick study.
What does that do?
Which is if I'm attempting a task that involves an unfamiliar medical procedure or to treat something that I don't recognize or an unfamiliar species that is increasing the difficulty due to my unfamiliarity, the difficulty goes down.
Okay.
I don't know if that's applicable here.
So that
I
will
also
almost certainly
have,
be applicable to a later check, but not this one.
I also have xenobiology.
And that one does?
That one is the study of all life forms focusing on
focus,
hypothetical, hypothetical alien biologies.
Yes, then you may apply your focus.
Okay.
So would you like to buy dice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so
I want to use that momentum point.
so 1 momentum point will net you 1 die.
Okay. I will take 2 because I'm greedy.
Okay.
Doesn't the second die cost more?
The second die costs cost 2, which means you're spending a total of 3.
You know what?
This is important. Do it.
This is important. Yeah, I'm taking it.
Okay,
This matters.
That's fair enough.
We need this information. Okay, so I've got focus on. I've got task roll set to 1, right?
No, your task roll should be now set to 4.
4? Okay, perfect. And then I'm using reason and medicine or reason and science. I'm choosing medicine because my medicine is higher.
That seems reasonable.
All right, task roll. Anything else that I need to add?
Make sure you click your focus is on, so that way it shows whether you
Focus
roll.
is a... Yeah, I set it to yes.
Okay, then go for it.
Oh, boom. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong button. That one. There we go.
All right. Well, you got 4 successes.
3 successes?
4.
4 successes.
4 successes. Yeah. So you did quite well on this. So let's see. So you have successfully scanned the virus, and you have basically got about as much as you would really like. You've learned that this current strain of the Outlander virus is highly contagious, fast-acting, and potentially fatal for virtually all mammalian and humanoid species, which would be your entire crew.
Yes.
This virus also is similar to the virus that causes Ankyles fever, a virulent disease capable of wiping out millions in a matter of days, which is something that is in your medical databanks. However, while Ankyles fever requires rare materials that are difficult to synthesize to produce a vaccine, the Outlander virus should respond to a more conventional antiviral medication. So, I will allow you, if you would like, to bank a couple points of momentum, unless you have something that you would like to immediately spend them on.
Nope.
Okay. So that's one of the things that's important to know about the game, is often when you spend momentum to get more dice rolls, some of that will be recovered if you roll well. So a lot of times when it's like, oh no, I'm going to have to spend 4 momentum, it's like, well, yeah,
You get back too.
you're probably going to get some back. So
It's a gamble.
yeah. It's actually technically possible to get more back than you spent, because you could get 2s on all sorts of rolls. So hypothetically,
Gotta spend money to make money, Chief.
Yep. Okay. So
It's only logical.
I'm going to go to Branson. Branson, what are you up to? Well,
Sorry, real quick, before you move on, how many momentum points did we get for that?
you got 2, so you are currently sitting at 4.
4. Got it. All right.
I had a
Well, I used 3. So we lost 3 and got back 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
While the doc is doing their thing, I was told to ingratiate myself, and I was also told there were technicians in here.
Mhm.
So I'd probably be chatting them up,
Okay.
asking about their shampooing routines and progress on, what if they work on anything other than this virus thing, kind of try to get them to talk about the cool shit they do.
So yeah, there's a number of different jobs on board the ring. There are people who are in charge of the life support systems. There are people who are in charge of onboard hydroponics bays. There are people who are engineer, repair people. There are people who are in charge of maintaining the modulation of the various stones and the energy input to them that allows them to emit the gamma rays. There's a lot of different jobs. And yes, they do in fact have hair care routines that they're willing to share with you. Now, most of them are using various Immunicorp brand shampoos because one of the things that you learn is that Immutacorp is by far the largest employer on Fosteran II, and something like 60 to 70% of any given city will be directly employed by Immutacorp, and the people who aren't directly employed by Immutacorp will be working for companies that often get contracts to do work for Immutacorp anyway. And that is as a result of Immutacorp being the ones...
That was the vibe I got.
Yeah, they are the ones who are providing essentially all of the water and food and much of the engineering expertise to this entire planet. If you have more questions, I will probably require some kind of task roll. So do you have anything else that you want to know specifically about?
You mentioned that there was support systems. Basically, they can kind of control like the flow, or I guess like the flow or the power of the gamma radiation.
So in order to get that information, why don't you take a presence engineering check? So for those of you who are curious, presence is similar to charisma in a D20 game. And I'm asking for engineering because this is relying on Branson's knowledge about how engineering works in order for him to get the right questions. So it has to be a combination of, sufficiently charming to get a positive reaction and sufficiently knowledgeable about engineering to actually ask the right questions. So that is why.
And I don't have an applicable focus, so it's pretty much just going to be those two. And I don't feel like it's a good time to spend momentum. So there we go.
Yeah, actually, you did get a point of momentum, which means you can either, after I tell you what you learn initially, you can either spend it immediately for more information, or you can bank it. So what you learn is that, yes, the power that is put into the stones is proportional to the power of the gamma rays that actually hit the planet. And would you like to bank that momentum, or would you like to learn more?
Would you like to know
I'd like to learn more.
All right, so, yeah, absolutely a reference to Starship Troopers. Anyway, so what you learn is that these stones were actually found in ruins on the planet that are very old, and there's actually been archaeological digs that have happened in these ruins, and they are not terribly well understood by the Fostarians, but experiments on these ruins have shown that some of the structures actually can output energy when energy is fed into them. And that is the resource that they use to construct this ring, is these ancient archaeological sites that aren't super well understood, but they're understood well enough to cause horrible lethal radiation damage. So that's always fun.
And really, what else do you need to know?
Insert Stargate here.
Right. So yeah, they were like, oh, hey, cool, ancient lost high technology on our planet. What if we use it to create crazy amounts of gamma radiation and irradiate the whole planet? And that's just what they did. And I mean, to be fair, it did work out in the sense that, they didn't go extinct, which is what they were on the cusp of. All right, so now that you figured that out, we're going to go back to Dr. Skig. So, Dr. Skig, you have two options. You can compare the genome to the one that decimated Fosteran II in the previous pandemic, and you'll need to do both of these eventually, but you get to choose which one to do first. Or you can work to identify a treatment, and once you've done both of those things, then we can complete this gated challenge. Which one would you like to work on first? You're muted, in case you answered.
Sorry. What? I'm doing the gated one? I thought it was. Sorry. Got lost. What?
Yes, you are the doctor researching this disease.
Whoops. Yeah, so we've got a disease that is recognizable, needs less than what we probably have. Right? Because we have...
Well, it doesn't require specialized, hard-to-obtain materials. conventional antiviral techniques will probably be effective to some degree.
Okay.
But you don't know exactly which antiviral techniques to use yet, which is one of the
So you can either
So-
research the
Right.
old virus or commence making a treatment.
You'll need to do both eventually, so it doesn't super matter, but you just get to pick one. Which one would you like to do first?
It doesn't really matter which attributes am I using for this? Would this be
So both of those are going to end up being reason and... Oh, actually, the research is going to be either reason and science or reason and engineering. And the development of the treatment is going to be reason and medicine. And also, I will argue that because Branson is around and he can help with, basic engineering stuff and looking into data banks, he can also assist with a reason and science or reason and engineering role if you want
okay?
to.
Let's do the reason and science while Branson is with me because my reason and my science are not bad, but my engineering is shit.
Okay.
I am not an engineer. I'm a best of bioengineer.
All right, so Branson, what's better for you, reason and science or reason and engineering?
I'd be reason and engineering.
All right, so you take one. You're doing this, so you roll one die, and Dr. Skig, you can do a reason and science if you would like, and if you would like, you can also spend more momentum. You currently have.
Does any of
4.
this utilize botany?
No, and it is difficulty 2.
Dang it. Okay, I'm gonna take one momentum point, but I won't take 2 this time.
Okay,
Just 1.
so you may now roll 3 dice.
And which part is this doing? The research part?
This is figuring out. You're now comparing this current virus to the historical databanks of the virus when it first, found its way into a pandemic strain on the planet.
And does
No.
my xenobiology apply to this?
Actually, in this case, yes, it will be difficulty 1.
And does my quick study and incisive scrutiny work here?
What do those do exactly?
No, that's arguments. Never mind. That would have been used earlier.
Okay.
My quick study is when attempting a task involving an unfamiliar medical procedure, or which is to treat an unfamiliar species. Ignore any difficulty.
Not on this task, but it will help with
Okay.
coming up with the treatment. Because
All
this
right,
is not
so
actually a task
I-
to treat anyone. You're just scanning a genome.
So you should
I
be
am
rolling
getting
3
my
dice.
xenobiology, so I am getting focus. My
Mhm.
task roll is at 3, and the difficulty went down by 1.
Yes.
And
And you're
I'm
getting an assist from
perfect.
Branson.
And I'm getting assist.
All right, and Branson, we'll roll that. You did the reason. Okay, so that is 4. So you got 3 more successes than needed. So first, let me tell you what you learn, and then we'll decide what to do with this momentum that you guys have generated, which is quite
We're
a
gonna
bit.
bonk this virus right on its brain.
Look, here's the thing with Star Trek Adventures: use that momentum because it comes and it goes easily. You can earn a lot, you can spend a lot, and also there's a maximum of 6. And every time a new scene comes up, I reduce the number of momentum you have by 1. So,
Yeah.
Big money, no whammies.
all right. So, let's see. So you turn up one important piece of information. It turns out that, 1, this virus seems to have adapted to be able to survive the gamma radiation as a result of some mutations, and you suspect that this is simply the result of the natural evolution of the virus via natural selection. That basically, after centuries of being, of having been suppressed into what's more or less just a...
Being bombarded with gamma radiation, it's
Right.
now a Hulk virus.
So basically, for 200 years, this virus has been infecting people and traveling around, but it hasn't been terribly severe because it's been suppressed by the gamma radiation. However, this new strain has adapted to that, and it is now highly virulent and also highly infectious. And it is threatening to wipe out the population, or at least severely reduce it as a result of that. However, you do also notice that there are some sections of the original virus genome that seem to be missing.
Yet more evidence of genetic entropy.
Obviously. So, would you like to... So here's some options. You can bank this momentum, or you could spend, up to 1 of them, really, to gain additional information.
I don't know if there's much more information we can gain if I've succeeded 3 times more than I needed to.
Spend it. That's we have it. We're gonna get more anyway. Just learn more. Spend it.
Okay, yeah, spend 1, learn more.
All right, so I will
Let's go.
add the other 2. By the way, I'm using a custom 3D printed tracker for this momentum and threat. It's so cool.
Like it.
Yeah, it's very, very neat. I have these tokens. The momentum ones have the little Starfleet logo on them. The threat ones have the Klingon logo.
You need to post pictures of them.
I'm pretty sure I sent them to Maddie at least.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen them, but I think you need to post them to everybody.
I'll put them on my community tab later.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that you learn is that these are actually based on what you're seeing with the new virus or the current virus. They're actually key genetic sequences that would play a really important role in developing the treatment, because they're the parts of the viral genome that you're planning to use right now to create your treatment.
Right.
So the most important parts of the genome of the original virus are not in the Fostarians database.
Got it. But they exist in the virus.
Yes. Or at least they exist in the current virus. You don't actually have access to samples of the original virus.
We don't have the original, so just what exists in the current... Okay, so I now have information that these people do not have in their database about the specific virus.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Branson!
Doc.
We might be ready to head back to the ship.
We haven't figured out a treatment. I guess you could do that back on the ship if you want.
Back on the ship! We do that on the ship!
Alright, so, as you're getting ready to head back to the ship, I am going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 threat to cause a power surge that disables the force field, separating you from the patients. Could each of Dr. Skig and Ford Branson please roll a challenge die? Just one challenge die.
Just one. Okay.
Do sparks fly and a console explodes?
Yes.
Oh no!
'Cause this
You
is
know it's
Star
really
Trek.
bad.
Let's go!
It says we roll.
Oh, do we need to put 1?
You gotta put 1.
Oh, you gotta
yeah.
put the you have
Type
to
1.
manually put the number 1 in.
I did.
Yes. All right, and could you try it again, Branson? Because I'm not seeing you as rolling any. Okay.
Mine showed up with just the little emblem.
I have extremely bad news. Dr. Skig has been infected by the Outlander virus.
No!
Ass.
Hey, I see
That's
this as an
wonderful.
absolute win. This
This is
means Dr.
perfect.
Skig no longer needs to be quarantined from her patients. Boom.
Right, and I can
Well.
just go onto the ship and bring the virus for testing with me. It's perfect.
We'll have all kinds of test subjects.
Win-win.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Do
a
I-
possibility.
Do I know that I'm infected right away?
Oh, yeah, you're pretty confident because I am about to roll some stress damage.
Ugh.
So give
I'm
me a
feeling pretty
second.
nauseous, guys. I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go.
I don't want to cheat and cause too much damage. All right,
Not do it.
you just took 4 stress damage,
Okay.
and you cannot heal this
Ooh.
until you are cured of the virus. And
Got it.
if you go unconscious, you will not be able to attempt tasks until you are stabilized.
That makes sense.
Okay. So we are going to end this scene. I will reduce your total momentum by 1. And so, yeah, now Dr. Skig is in fact infected. And when we cut back to this, there will be a chance that Branson will become infected as a result of Dr. Skig just being in the room.
I have a quick question before we move on. Did we get any momentum points for succeeding so well at figuring out what's going on with this virus?
Yeah, you spent 1, you got an additional 2.
We got 2. Okay. Sorry, I'm just keeping track. So we should have 3, right?
4.
I've got
Because you
4.
took one. We got 2. You took one off. We had 1 left.
I've been putting them on and off this counter thingy, and I have 4 listed. If you would like
All
to
right, I'll
argue
take
that it
4.
should be 3, I will take one off.
No.
Okay. All right. So, by the way, that is called a reversal of fate threat spend, and I am allowed to do that to end a scene with a sudden reversal. So, yeah.
Things have been going too well for daring heroes.
Yeah, so remember, basically, my threat pool is in fact things that so the way threat works in this game is I can establish the scene pretty much any way I want, but if I want to make the scene worse after already establishing it, I'm generally obliged to spend threat to do so. So, for instance, if I want to say, okay, the reinforcements come in, or, oh no, the power goes out, or, oh no, toxic gas fills the room or something, I usually would have to spend threat to do that.
Oh no, I'm dead.
Well, I can't kill a character with a reversal of fate, because that's a bit unfair.
You can't?
No.
There's
Not
no
a player
just, like,
character. You could kill a character though.
Tasha
Yeah,
Yar.
I could kill.
Yar.
I couldn't Tasha Yar you, but I could kill Ensign Ricky, right? I could kill Ensign Ricky.
Yeah, okay.
Not
No,
Ensign
Greg!
Ricky.
Well,
No, not Greg!
to be fair, I didn't kill Greg or Ensign Ricky this time, so we're okay for now.
Yet.
All right.
That's good. Ricky owes me drinks.
We are now going to cut to the down by the water treatment plant. So, yeah, take a moment to get to that point because I moved back a little bit. Okay, so
Did they send me a historian to talk to too?
So currently they have not sent you a historian to the water treatment plant that you're trying to restart up. That during a period of civil unrest, that seemed like a bad idea to the Fostarian government. They figured that maybe having that after you deal with the potential riots and lack of water for the city. So, you guys are taking a small craft provided to you. Oh, no, sorry, actually, it's provided by the ship because you called down an engineering team. And you're going to the Peldrinar water treatment facility, which is a city that is somewhat nearby. It's smaller than the capital city. It also has a big dome over it. And so there are several industrial buildings near a reservoir which form the water treatment complex just outside the city of Peldrinar. The complex appears abandoned, and the enormous pumps used to purify irradiated water stand silent and motionless. The Immutacorp logo, a stylized illustration of the planet surrounded by a thick ring, emblazons many of the buildings.
I would also like, Dapper, just to give you a piece of information that is true about denobulans.
Mm-hmm.
Denobulans are particularly susceptible to radiation damage.
Well, that's unfortunate because I'm spending 2
if that's a
threats
piece of information
to increase the amount of radiation. You better be careful. Don't get any tears in your suit.
Okay.
Thanks for telling me. It gave me a great threat spend idea.
If you follow all of the proper procedures, Lieutenant Asha.
Yeah.
Was there a follow-up to that?
No. If you do that, it will be fine.
Of course, sir. Of course. You're right.
All right. So, you are, as you approach, so you're going to shuttle pod lands, as you approach the water treatment plant, you notice that there are about a half a dozen Fostarians who are sort of shuffling around this area, and they seem to be looking for anything that might be providing water. They're checking valves and things like that. However, they barely react to you being there. They just kind of look up, notice you, and then just go back to trying to figure out how they could possibly get some water. They don't even seem to care that this water is about a half a dozen.
Okay.
Do we have water with us that we could provide?
You did not, to my knowledge, specifically bring down significant quantities of water. That's something you could request, but it would still take probably a few hours. We have
our own water bottles or whatever we would have with us, right?
Yeah, I mean you might have a canteen you could offer.
Then I'll instruct the crew to give up half of our water to provide to these civilians. Okay,
they rush over and they accept this. So let's see. Those few that receive the water wander off, seemingly much happier. Although, as they do, certain other people start to kind of wander in here and there as a slow trickle. Would you guys like to work on the fixing the water plant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Asha and the crew should be working on that. Since I have, well, I guess I have some talent in engineering, so I'll help too.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. First of all, the radiation is a complication which is making your sensors and tricorder returns somewhat inconclusive. If you like, you can counteract this by spending a couple of momentum, or trying a reason and science task of difficulty 2, or you can just deal with an increase in difficulty to the future tasks to scan this equipment.
Let me try reason and science, because I've got like a 15 in that.
Can I assist?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. Would this be survival?
No. Probably not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in a one-shot, it's unlikely that all your focuses will come into play. So.
I reason and science together is 13, and I rolled a 9.
Okay. So that is 1 success plus 2 more. Okay, so you guys, not only do you manage to clear the interference, but if you would like, you can use the momentum that you just generated as an immediate spend to clear the increased radiation in the first place, because you are able to find the source of the radiation. Get rid of it.
I thought, not to throw away the bone you gave us, but I thought the source of the radiation...
This is like an extra source.
Extra source. Okay, yeah.
It turns out, there was some highly irradiated water that was the real problem. You can get rid of that if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of that.
Okay.
Absolutely. The safety of my crew is paramount.
All right. So you managed to figure out that one of the water tanks was actually very irradiated for some reason. Maybe it was the treatment tank that was taking in like the worst water or something. You're not entirely sure. But anyway, you send that to a more distant location via the various valves and pumps and whatnot. And so that has cleared the radiation. And so it is now a, reason or control an engineering task to try to fix these pumps.
Oh, I will take reason and engineering. Thank you.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I have a 16. How did I fail that?
Maybe you rolled a 17 or an 18.
I did roll a 17. This is poppycock.
All right, you have been unable so far to fix it. And some 5 infected Fostarians are approaching, and they're starting to beg to be taken back to the starship because they claim to not have any food or water.
Okay, so I am going to break away from the group to deal with the diplomatic situation while the group continues to work on fixing the problem.
Okay. What are you going to do?
I am going to explain to them that the work we're doing here is going to give them the food and water they require, and it would actually happen faster than the transport to get to the ship. And so if they could be patient and give us the space we require, then we'll ensure that they are cared for.
All right, why don't you give me a, let's see. I'm going to go with presence and medicine check.
Okay.
And you do get to use your focus about, diffusing conflicts and what.
Well, I did not do a good job. So.
Oh, well, so one infected man rushes up and says, "No, please, we're not sure if you can get this started back up again." And the food's gone, and he's tugging at your EV suit. And in fact, is tugging so desperately and so hard that I spend 2 more threat to cause a breach in your EV suit, exposing you to the Outlander virus. Roll 1 challenge die, please. Did it roll something?
It doesn't show a result. I can try again.
Did you type 1 in?
I did
Okay.
type 1 in.
All right, you are not currently infected. However, if you spend another scene on this planet with a breach in your EV suit, you may become infected.
Sir,
That would be
you
unfortunate.
should get into the
Yes.
shuttle.
All right, so well, before you have a chance to get back into the shuttle, I would like, Maddie, could you take another reason or control and engineering test? It's going to be difficulty 2. Now, remember, you can spend momentum to get more dice.
I would like to spend a momentum to get another die.
So just 1?
Just 1. Yes. That. This isn't an extended task, is it?
No.
Okay.
And this is just pass.
Just checking. Listen, checking to see if I've got anything.
I
Okay.
don't blame you.
So 3. I get an extra die and roll.
Okay, you have succeeded.
Choose. Okay.
The pumps
Excellent.
were back to life,
Excellent.
and you and the engineering team and the captain can make a dash back to the shuttle if you'd like. Just for funsies, because I didn't get a chance. This had the potential to become a fight, so I do want to, I did make a map for it. I want to show you the map. I think it's pretty cool.
Let me see.
Oh, I messed it up. Oh, come on. Roll 20. Move the players. There it is. So.
So I'd like to get the water pump started and kind of get the engineering team out and come out. So we come outside and I see the captain. I see that he has a ripped EV suit, and then that the locals are getting a little rowdy. And kind of shout, just, the water pump's back online. We're working to help your people. I need to get my captain. We have to go. We have to go before he's infected.
Why don't you take a presence? I'll let you use presence or daring and command.
I will take my presence.
Okay.
Excellent.
So, I have to have succeeded to do that. Never mind.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. And let's see. So 1 success, but I can also use my cultural flexibility, maybe.
What does that do? Let me know.
Act in an appropriate manner when interacting with a member of a culture I'm unfamiliar with. Reduce the difficulty by 1.
All right. Well, then in that case, you have managed to succeed and further diffuse the tension, so they are willing to let you go, otherwise unmolested.
Okay.
So you guys are
Excellent.
You guys have successfully diffused what could have been a combat encounter with a bunch of starving plague victims, and turned it into not that.
Jesus.
It
I
does
like
mean
my job better.
It does mean
Even though I got infected.
we don't get to use the cool battle map I made.
I'm sorry. It's really cool.
It is a really cool battle map.
Thank you. I did work hard on it. All right. So you guys get back up there, and we're going to cut back to Dr. Skig. You better come up with a treatment, and fast, before you yourself die of this disease there, Doctor. You are currently stable, but
Yay!
you are down. You have taken 4 stress of damage that you could not heal because you are infected. So,
Yes.
here's what we're going to do. You can take a reason and medicine task of difficulty 2, which is already accounting for your drop in difficulty from your talent. And if successful, you can develop a treatment in time to treat not just yourself, but also the patients here, and avoid further damage from the Outlander virus, including a potential injury.
You should spend
Spend
all
that
3 momentum.
baby.
Oh, you don't. You have 2 momentum.
Spend all 2 of them.
But you can also
I
you give me threat in exchange for more dice if you would like.
also have emergency medicine for my focus.
Ooh. I will let that
Which-
focus apply.
Yeah.
But remember,
this is my jam.
this is a
I-
difficulty 2 task. And if you don't
I think-
succeed, it could be really bad.
I think we should spend the momentum and give Dapper threat
Yeah.
for the plot, because it would be funnier if he has threat.
Okay. How many dice would you like to buy? You can buy up to 3.
Okay, so if I have
Yep.
my focus and I have my task roll for this is reason medicine, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yep.
is not. We've already agreed that this is not including my first my quick study, right?
It is. That's why it's a difficulty 2, right?
Yeah, it would be difficulty
Okay.
3 otherwise.
I also have first response, so I don't know if this applies
Read
to whenever you attempt a first aid task during. Well, this is during combat.
Yeah, so no.
Okay, so no. All right.
So it's a difficulty 2, and so far you have 3 dice.
Well, if you spend 1 momentum, then true.
Yeah. We're spending 1 momentum.
If we spend
Um,
one momentum rather than both momentum, yes.
Well,
Well,
Otherwise,
we
I
can-
have 2 dice and focus.
We have 2 momentum. We can only get 1 die with that. So
Yes.
so if you would
Um,
like a second die, you can spend the second momentum and also give me 1 threat.
But I am
Let's do that.
rolling this
Let's do
task
that. We only-
already with 3 dice, right?
Yep. If you would like a 4th, you can spend that last momentum and also give me a threat.
what's your reason in medicine?
9 and 5.
Remember, if you roll over, it's not like those go to waste. You can just get more momentum.
Yeah.
So would you like to give me any threat?
I don't know, Captain. What do you think? Should we do threat? I'll leave it up to you.
Yes, we should do
Do
that.
it.
All right. Now,
Do
I
it.
will let you know. If you want to give me
Going up to
3
4.
more threat afterwards, you can get
That's
another
not-
die.
That would be highly illogical.
That's like a crazy.
He's
I'm
like
just-
crunching the numbers in
I'm
his
just
head right
saying,
now.
I've got these extra threat tokens. I could just put them on the stack. It's great. All right. We won't go for
So I'm
5 dice.
rolling this
then. 4
task roll
dice.
with 4 dice and focus.
Yes.
Let's go, big money, no whammies! Well, GM.
Oh, that's yeah. Hey, that is 3 success. You gained a momentum. I just put it right on the stack. So
That
yeah,
puts us to 1 now.
yep. You're at 1 momentum, and you have successfully created an antigen capable of provoking an immune response in humanoids that will fight off the disease. So all you have to do is
I'm
now.
basically this planet's new god. You're
Now,
right.
all you have to do is have that synthesized by the onboard medical equipment on the ring, and it can be applied to you and the patients. And yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to say that happened. We're going to end that scene. I'm going to take that momentum back off because we ended the scene.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And you guys are now able to go back to the ship in order to Sitok.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
My stress, is that now recoverable, or does it go away?
So at the beginning of the next scene, which is like now basically, yeah, you recover all your stress.
Baby!
All right. I am sending. All
Thanks, Captain.
right. So this is the. I'm double checking, but I believe this is the end of another act. Yes, it is. So, would anyone like to take a minute to get another drink or anything, or use the bathroom or anything like that? Are we good to go?
No, I'm all
I'm
right.
good.
Okay.
I'm
Captain, I have sent you another
I'm looking good.
captain's log. If you would like to read that off.
I would. Captain's log, supplemental. Our science team has made some progress in analyzing the viral strain that threatens Fosteran II. However, the Fosterian Corporation we're working with to study the disease has responded with less enthusiasm than we anticipated.
Okay. So now that you're back on the ship, you are hailed. And we'll assume everyone's back on the bridge, just for the sake of ease.
Captain, I did the thing, and then the thing, and then the boop, 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 boop.
Okay. So would you like to answer the hail?
Of course.
Okay. Velostra lesson appears on screen and says, Challenger, I am very grateful for this. Now that you have managed to find a cure, I don't think that we need any more help from off-worlders, so you can leave.
I appreciate the sentiment, Miss Flassen. However, we would like to coordinate relief efforts with the Regent prior to departure.
I don't think that would be necessary, but I would be willing to allow your organization access to our very extensive biosynthesis labs for future medical problems if you need. If that would help.
We would, of course, be happy to coordinate our efforts and pool our resources in order to further both of our interests. But I won't be able to leave orbit until I've spoken to the Regent. Starfleet procedures require me to get to go through the proper process with the local authorities.
I see. Well, I'm sorry that you don't know a good deal when you see one. It appears I'll have to end your meddling in my planet's affair via more direct means.
First officer, yellow alert.
And then and she cuts off the transmission. And yeah, who's on sensors? Is it probably Lieutenant Asha? Yes.
Yeah, I'll be on sensors. Sure. Science station, absolutely.
All right. Well, first, I want to point out this is another nice little map.
Yay!
Of our alien system. Look, there's you. You're in the. You're that little token there. The NX-03 Challenger. It's very nice. Thank you. Anyway,
nice.
So, on your sensors, you are detecting part of the ring actually detaching from the surface, and it is in fact launching some kind of vessel, and your scans indicate that it is in fact armed and powering weapons, and its shields are raised.
Red alert. Mr. Branson. Evasive maneuvers.
Actually, that is a great...
Evasive pattern Delta 2.
Already on it, Captain.
So here's the thing. We are now initiating starship combat. So the way this is going to work is, yes, you in fact can do evasive maneuvers. It will cost 1 energy, and that can be... Jordan, that can actually be your turn, is... one command to Branson, which allows him to act out of turn, and also, if you you need to roll a presence and command roll, and if you succeed, that will count as an assist to his. This is going to be daring con roll for evasive action, and if you succeed at your check for evasive maneuvers, it will increase the difficulty of the Fosteran ship to hit you.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. Am I rolling 2 dice or 1 for this?
1, because it is an assist.
Okay.
And Branson, you need to roll 2 dice, unless you want to, pay with threat or something, which because you don't have momentum. And that's going to be a daring con roll.
Does my focus on composure count for staying cool in this dangerous situation?
Not yet, but maybe in the future.
Okay, then 1 success.
All right, and
so
Branson, how many did you get?
I haven't rolled yet because I wanted to ask a question mostly for comedy purposes. Does my evasive action focus apply to our evasive action?
Yes, it absolutely does. Yeah, you're good. All right. So, and you said you did get a success?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, you guys have not only managed to successfully use evasive maneuvers, but you also gained a point of momentum, which is very useful for later. Okay. It is now, unless you would like to spend that momentum to retain the initiative and have someone else go, it is now the enemy ship's turn to take an action.
I think we hold off. I think we'll have more importance checks in a minute.
Okay. Oh, also, you actually do get assisted by the ship's engines and con. So if someone could roll that real quick, that might actually generate another point of momentum.
Engines and con.
And you did remember to reduce the current power by 1, right? Because evasive maneuvers cost a power.
No, but I'll get that. So looks like 1 success from.
Okay. I will add another.
I told it to roll 1. It rolled 2.
I'm fine with it, please.
And where's the power on this character sheet?
Oh no! Wait, no, that was a 4. Yeah, so it's good.
Oh no!
I thought for a second that was you rolled a
Power. Okay. So we are max of 6 power, so we should currently be at 5 power. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that ship will. Let's see. It powers up its pulse cannons and decides to try to fire at you, and I will spend 3 threat to give it an extra 2 dice to make up for the fact that this is now a difficulty 3 task. And I need to check what their crew rating is. Okay, so that is only 2 successes. They managed to miss you entirely. All right, so it is now the player's turn again. Any one person may go.
I think we should return fire, but since our weapons officer isn't here, can we spend a crew point to have a weapons officer do that firing?
Absolutely. What is the name and species of your random new weapons officer guy?
He is Doug, the human.
The human. Okay.
Doug.
Okay.
So Mr. Doug, phase cannons.
We have a human Greg, and we have Doug.
Of course.
He's going to count as having a 3 in security and a 7 in this is going to be control. So we're going to say that he's got 10 basically. Who would like to control Doug for the purposes of this? It will probably me.
Probably Dr. Skig, since I don't think she'll be fighting.
It seems. Oh, you muted yourself.
Whoops. If Maddie wants to do it, that's fine.
Well, there are actually plenty of things for the science officer to do. Like there's sensor sweeps. There's.
All right, I will do it.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can fire. What are your weapons? Let me bring up the character sheet for the ship.
We have phase cannons and spatial torpedoes.
All right. So your phase cannons are close range, and your spatial torpedoes are medium range, which means your torpedoes. 1, they generate threat because they are an escalation weapon. So every time you fire them, I get a point of threat. And also, it would be difficulty 4 to use the torpedoes. The phase cannons will, however, take power, unlike the torpedoes, but it's only difficulty 2. So we're going to go for phase cannons?
Yes, phase cannons.
All right.
I would rather not escalate this situation.
Dr. Skig.
I'm imagining Dr. Sig is currently working on making a vaccine, and everything's like...
Yeah.
There's rocks flying out of consoles, and I'm just like, fuck, hold it still.
Chesh is currently playing Doug, the weapons officer.
Doug.
I am Doug.
All right, so you can roll... so this will also be assisted by the ship's weapons and weapon and security, not con. But yeah, you get 2 dice by default, just like normal. Your target roll is 10. You need 2 successes. Would you like to spend any momentum? You have 2.
Do I roll a d20 for this and need to get 10?
Yeah, it's the same as if your character did it. It's just this other guy's
You're just playing a different character right now.
But doesn't my character have a bunch of stats?
7 and 3.
Right now it's 7 and 3, yeah.
I have anything that does 3 on my character sheet.
Yeah, I'll just
roll some physical dice, that's fine.
That's what I was wondering. I just rolled d20s, right?
Yeah, just d20s.
D20.
Grab a couple, grab a few d20s. Because a A few d20s can help you if you want to spend momentum. Do you want to spend any momentum or threat or generate threat?
We should spend a momentum.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
What, the difficulty is what, 2?
Yep.
Well, the ship didn't do shit.
We did not.
Yeah, we got 4 d20s.
But if we spent 2 momentum, that wouldn't get us another die.
But we
Well,
don't,
so
we
you
don't have
spent-
2 momentum to
you
spend.
spent one
so you have to
momentum.
spend threat.
Yeah, you could spend one more momentum and generate 1 threat, and that would get you a 4th die if you wanted to.
That sounds risky. We have a lot of threats in our heads right now.
Not really. You've got 3 points of
No?
threat.
That doesn't
Okay,
sound
that's
like a
not-
lot. Sure, let's
that's
spend the
not too
threat and get another one.
Okay. We're down to 0 momentum, and I am now up to 4th threat.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm rolling 4 d20?
4 d20s, yep.
And you have to get a 10 or lower.
10 or lower. Okay, I rolled a 4, a 4, a 5, and a 19.
That's 3. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to roll
I'm a low roller.
7 challenge die. Now, these phasers are versatile, which means you can spend that momentum you generated to gain an additional couple points of damage on top of whatever you roll. But you have to declare that now.
So, how much momentum did we generate from this?
1.
1.
Yeah,
And the challenge die are also d20s?
No, they're
they're special.
yeah, there's special ones.
Oh, right.
We
I
roll
just rolled
7
those.
of those, and if we spent that momentum, how much more damage would we get?
You get another couple damage points.
Sure, why not? Let's
Oh,
push our
all right.
advantage.
Okay.
Okay.
So I changed my challenge dice to 7, and I'm just going to hit it on my character sheet, yeah?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So that is. So we're already starting off with 2. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. So their shields are now down to less than half as you blast their shields with your phase cannons.
Doug, keep firing, assholes!
All right. So, the ship is going to spend a point. What do I want to do? You know what? Yeah, they're going to take a task to move. If I remember which. There we go. Tokens. They're going to move out of orbit. Their weapons officer has already gone. So they're hoping that maybe this will prevent you from using or being as likely to hit with your crazy cannons next round. Actually, you know what? They're going to take a test. They're going to take a check, and I'm going to see if they can move into orbit of Fosteran Prime, the star. Which, yes, they are.
See, we don't even have to force them to the star. They're going to go drive themselves into the sun all on their own.
So they are now closer to the star, hoping that will confuse your sensors. And yep, that is their turn there. Now, the captain is gone. The weapons officer has gone. We still have the science officer who can go, as well as the pilot, who's Branson. So, who would like to go next, Lieutenant Asha or Lieutenant J.G. Branson?
For the only thing I've got was I was thinking of pitching like a insight engineering something kind of role to understand the relative power of like their weapons and engines to ours, or I could do a sensor sweep to try to figure out like what's a good place to hit them.
Okay.
But that's what I can do.
Well, sensor sweep is
what do
definitely
you
something
think,
you can
Frank?
do right from your console.
Yeah.
Also, sensor sweeps are difficulty 0.
Oh, okay.
Which means
What would a
basically,
sensor sweep
so
like? What would that get me?
it could give you some information about the ship, and it will almost certainly generate momentum that can be used later.
That's true. Branson, do you guys want me to do that to generate us some momentum?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like, I mean, kind of like one of those things. I'm the pilot. My goal would be to get us, better range, so we can keep blasting. Maybe even use the torpedo, or we can use the torpedoes from longer distance, I think. So knowing where they're at, like sensor sweeps might allow us to get better positioning.
Okay, let me do a sensor sweep then. What kind of roll would that be, Dapper?
So that is
Yeah.
going to be a you can take either control and science or reason and science, whichever one you think would be better for you.
Reason and science. My control is my lowest.
Got it.
Wait, Dapper, I'm trying to find the ship combat section in this rule book.
I think it's around like the 200s pages.
It is. It's on. It starts on page 220.
This thing is
Hey,
laid
2
out
successes.
very poorly.
Actually, the Klingon rulebook is
I'm
laid
sorry.
out better.
218.
But not many people ever got the Klingon rulebook because it also doesn't have the character creation rules for a Starfleet character. So it's like, come on, guys, what are you doing? All right, so also, Maddie, you can take a on the ship. You can take a sensors science roll for the ships. It's only 1 die, so we'll take whatever dice whatever die is on the left. Apparently, it's just not going to roll 1.
Sensors. Yeah, it does not want to. Sensor science. Did it roll nothing? Or did it roll?
No, it rolled.
Nope.
It
Roll
failed.
2-0, yeah. So you generate two
failed,
momentum, and you can tell that their shields are basically down to about 40%, but their systems and their hull are undamaged as of now.
I will thematically order Mr. Branson to pursue.
All right. So here's the deal: you can leave orbit and enter the Fostarian system general area if you would like. That does not require a task. However, if you would like to get all the way to where the zone they're in orbit of Fostarian Prime, it will require a task and cost a point of energy. Now, your energy will generally not recharge during this scene, so it is a budget that you need to keep track of.
And right now we're at 4.
Yep. So that means basically you can only do 4 more tasks that cost energy.
Well, I think we're good because 1 energy put us at 3, another good blast of the cannons, and we should have these people done.
Also, torpedoes do not cost energy, so there is that too.
Right.
And their range, I believe, is medium on here. So if you are 1 zone away, they are at optimal range.
Also, I feel like if we deplete their shields, we can maybe do like hey buddies.
Yeah, I was thinking once their
You
shields are down, I
feeling
would
good about this? And then
hail them.
And if they don't, then we blast them with
Yeah.
the torpedoes.
I imagine that's probably part of like the rule book where it's like if you disable an enemy, you're obligated to try to attempt to hail them.
Well,
Like
I don't know if it's
rules.
part of the rules, but Sitok, being a pacifist, would not just blow this ship apart. For
So,
no reason.
Branson, are you going... What are you going to do? You could take... You basically, do you want to move the ship? And if so, where?
Branson feels like the kind of guy that would want to get right there in Fosterian Prime and push the
All right, so you're going to go to
initiative.
full impulse. That is going to be a control con roll, which is assisted by the ship's engines and con.
I got the ships.
Control con.
1 success from the ship.
Oh, I have a focus in helm operation. Would that apply?
counts.
My helm operation focus.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Heck yeah, our pilot is spec for piloting.
Yay!
What do you know?
Way to go!
Let's go.
All right, so that was 3 successes. You can successfully get to in orbit of Fostarian Prime, and you have generated a momentum.
Yes.
Congratulations!
Excellent.
All right. With the ship's final turn, they are going to attempt to recharge shields a bit. Not only did they fail, they spent an extra point of power. So, yeah, they had a power surge while they were trying, because I rolled a complication on my check for the NPCs, which means something bad for the NPCs happened.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean, yay!
All right. So, yeah, that didn't help. But this is actually the second round. So now everyone has their actions back. Captain, you can issue a special order if you'd like to. Oh, also, I think anyone can control the ship. So if anyone wants to put the ship token in orbit of Fostarian Prime.
I tried to do it
Oh, maybe I'll do it. Here we go.
I cannot. I've got these little pointers that I'm trying to help because they're kind of small on all the black.
I tried to move it on StreamYard.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah, okay, so Captain Sitok will direct Mr. Doug to fire the phase cannons.
Now, here's one thing I do want to point out. In addition to evasive maneuvers, there's also attack pattern, which rather than reducing the chance of them to hit you, it lowers the difficulty of your test to hit them. So you could instead order Branson to do attack pattern Omega or whatever you make up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's another option.
So that's what I'll do, actually. So as we're flying in, I will say, Mr. Branson, attack pattern Delta 5. Mr. Doug, be prepared to fire.
All right, so, Mr. Branson, that means that you now can take a test. It is going to be difficulty 2. It costs 1 power, and if you succeed, it lowers the difficulty of the next weapons attack against the Fostarians.
And I use command to assist.
Yes. Command presence. Or presence command.
What kind of roll is it?
So this is going to be a daring con roll.
And it's difficulty 2, you said?
Yes, and you guys do have 3 momentum currently banked up.
Let's spend 1 to bump our roll up.
Okay.
So
you spend 1, so now you have 3
dice?
dice. Yep.
All right.
I really like the momentum and threat system.
Can I keep applying the helm operation focus, or is that like I burned it already?
What was the actual focus?
It's called helm operation.
Sure, I'll.
What does it do?
It was probably too broad for me to accept, but I'll just let you have it because I don't care. It's a one shot. Just have fun with it.
I succeeded, so 1 success for me.
Okay.
You succeeded in throwing your dice across the room.
I also succeeded.
All right, well that's 2, but also the ship gets.
I do that all the time.
The ship gets an assist.
And now my screen is full screen. I don't know how to make it now.
Try F11.
There it is. Okay.
There you go.
Alt F4.
No, don't do Alt F4.
My command console just starts throwing sparks for no reason.
The rocks start coming out of it.
Mr. Greg throws himself on your console, I think. Captain!
Get down, Mr. President!
Yeah.
All right, the ship also needs to make a roll.
What roll would that be?
That's going to be engines and con. Or no, sorry. Engines and security. My bad.
This maneuver, this attack pattern, did this cost a power?
Yes.
All right, so we're at 2 power.
Yep.
So engine security. Nope. It's a 0.
Okay. But you still gained a momentum back. Now, here's the thing. If you want, you could spend a couple momentum to keep the initiative and let Doug fire immediately.
How much momentum would we have to spend?
That would be 2. It would bring you down to 1. But this is going to be a difficulty 1 check.
I think we should do it and then spend the last momentum because this is going to finish the fight.
Okay. Yeah, generally speaking, in this game, combat rarely lasts into a 3rd turn because it's pretty quick and decisive.
Yeah, it's not a combat-heavy game style.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Doug, fire.
All right.
All right, how many dice do I roll?
So that's a good question. You can spend this momentum or give me threat if you want to gain additional dice, but by default it's 2.
So we have 1 momentum left, so let's spend that last one to give you 3.
3. Okay. All right. I rolled a 19, a 17, and a 3.
Well, that is the one that you needed.
And what does the ship roll?
The ship rolls a weapon security. Yeah, weapon security.
I like to think that Doug
this ship is useless.
Menace. Doug is a menace.
Okay, to be fair,
I said across her nose, not up it.
To be fair, this is an NX class ship, and they're basically the worst, like statistically the worst player ship that is available in the game. Short of just like, oh, I'm doing a J class freighter. That's the ship that I want for my game. Like, okay, if you want.
We're not even in our ship right now. We're actually just in like the little pod to get down to the.
So now you roll the 7 challenge dice.
Yeah, roll those 7 challenge dice.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. 7. Boom. Bang.
That's not 7.
That's
I did
0.
7. Why did it not go?
There it is.
That's
There you go.
That's
You might have to click enter before
Yeah,
you do it. I think that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
All right. So, you guys have done a breach. So, those shields flicker off on the Fostarian attack ship, and you see a little explosion burst into life right there. At which point, you are in fact hailed.
Open the channel.
All right. You see a Fostarian man who's saying, "Captain, this is the captain of the Fostarian strike ship. You do whatever you want. We're just gonna leave if that's okay with you. We don't need to blow up for this. This is just a job. I don't actually care. So
I don't get paid enough for this.
yeah, will you accept our surrender and let us leave? Is that okay?"
Captain, my name is Captain Sitok of the Challenger. Your surrender is accepted. Power down all offensive weapons and be
Absolutely.
prepared. And be prepared to move to the coordinates of our choosing. And I'm going to direct.
By the way, the ship
And I'm going. Go ahead.
can't go too much farther. We can only hit like warp 2, so keep that in mind when you're picking coordinates, please.
Basically, I'm going to give them a zone that they're to stay out of.
Okay.
They're not to like a line. Don't come any closer to Fosteran II than this line.
Okay, so basically they cannot enter the zone of Fosteran II is what you're going to tell them.
Right. I want them. Yeah, I'm going to give them a do not pass line, or Doug's going to wallop you.
Got it.
Meow, 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 meow. Can I just be Doug is my unofficial character now. Thank you.
Yes. By the way, one of my favorite parts of the system is, in fact, the supporting character system, because
Oh my god, I love him.
cool. You can, and that's the thing. Last time I played, we had supporting characters that everyone fell in love with too. And one of the nice things is, if it's an actual campaign, every time you bring back a previously existing supporting character, they get like a stat boost from last time.
Oh, Doug's gonna level up. Let's go.
Well,
That makes a
unfortunately,
certain amount of sense, right? At one point, you're just like, here's Transporter Chief, and then eventually he becomes Miles O'Brien.
right, the most important
Yeah.
the most important person in all of Starfleet history, as we know, canonically. That's canonically factual.
I also love the idea that even if you do like a handful of one shots like this, Doug remains and just keeps getting better and better and better.
Well, he's a human, and the next mini campaign is going to be set like 100 years later. So
It's fine. He pulled a fry.
Our security officer will be Doug the Third.
He still gets the level boost because of nepotism.
all right, guys. So you are good there. That is, in fact, that scene. So we will take the So you receive a hail from the planet. I assume that you guys are moving back to the planet.
Yeah, I think so.
So you receive a hail, and this one is from the Regent. Although I think Captain Sitok is currently using the head or something. I don't know.
I believe the captain will want to open frequency for hailing.
You know, in the Star Trek: The Next Generation technical manual, which has like the floor plan for the Enterprise D, there is one bathroom located just outside the bridge, and it's like apparently that is where all like 4,000 crew members go to the bathroom. Is that one spot? Now, presumably, everyone's quarters also have a bathroom.
Quarters, yeah.
But,
Of sorts,
the only
yeah.
public bathroom that's on the entire floor plan is like right outside the bridge, and it's the only one, and it looks like a single toilet bathroom. Although I do wonder,
Amazing.
what do they do about the whale poop? I don't know if you know, but the Enterprise D has whales on board.
Oh boy. I think it's part of the whole bio like sphere of the way everything on the Enterprise
Wait, I'm
works.
sorry.
All I could think is
has
that
whales
it's
on board?
Yeah,
to
you
be
didn't,
like-
Yeah.
you didn't know about this? Cetacean
No.
ops. So okay, if you look at some of the door labels, some of them actually indicate that they're a door to cetacean ops. The technical manual has a section of the saucer section dedicated to cetaceans, and it includes the outline of a humpback whale and several dolphins. In one episode, Geordi distracts a Ferengi who is interested in acquiring rights to a wormhole by saying, hey, have you seen the dolphins and dragging him away? And then in a later episode,
Okay.
someone is called to cetacean ops by the intercom while they're in 10 forward.
Yeah.
It's an accessibility concern. We want all our crew members to be able to work in a comfortable environment.
Yes. And
I
also,
also love the idea that they're
explains
actually
the
just
dolphins
they've
lower
just been like
decks.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
the Honey I Shrunk the Kids machine is just like standard fanfare now, and they're just tinier than
Look-
they normally are.
I like to think that after Star Trek, 4, they were just
Yeah.
like, look, we have to have whales at all times.
Yeah, yeah.
look, in the TNG era, cetacean is a playable species in this game.
Oh.
That's tempting.
All right.
Sorry,
That's
go on.
beautiful.
So,
The-
Captain Sitok, you have been hailed by the Regent.
Sorry, I was trying to find my die. I'm checking out
the die that you
tomorrow's
threw
night.
across the
Apps.
room.
And this is not like a plastic. This is like an amethyst
Oh.
die. I definitely need to find.
Oh, goodness.
But anyway,
You'll find it when you step on it.
There you go.
yeah, open a channel.
All right. So the Prime Minister comes up and says, Captain, I am sorry about that. I didn't even know that Immutacorp had a warship on the ring. That was definitely not part of the plans that they submitted when the ring was being constructed. That was something they held from us entirely.
Nope, warp primes blow up their planet.
I apologize entirely. This will have to be something that the government deals with. However, we don't currently have the resources to take Director Lassen into custody. Is that something that you could assist with?
Yes, we can assist with that.
All right. Well, thank you. You know where the docking room is. Assume you can send over a team with some weapons or something.
Yes, we will send a boarding party to take this criminal into custody. I want to ensure, however, that the cure is being manufactured at facilities outside of Mutacorp's hands, and so I will be directing our doctor to begin synthesis.
Okay. I don't know that we actually have much in the way of non-Immutacorp facilities that could produce it. However, I have a strong suspicion that after you take Director Thalassen into custody, that Immutacorp as a corporate entity might not exist for that much longer. Because they've been more or less the de facto government, but the laws on the book don't actually make them the government. And it might be time to reestablish the sovereignty of the Fosterian planetary government after this.
Get out of here, Shinra.
If the
Nobody likes
laws on the book indicate they are not the government, then they are not the government.
Well, you are hereby deputized by the power vested in me by being the regent of this entire damn planet to go catch her.
Choo-choo.
It shall be done.
All right, thank you very much. And she clicks off. All right,
Live long and prosper.
I'll say that happened before she clicks off, and she replicates the hand gesture and is like, do I just repeat that?
Yes, that is the standard protocol.
Live long and prosper, Captain Sitok. Thank you for sharing this interesting aspect of your culture. It kind of hurts my hand. I'm going to stop it now. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay. She puts her hand down. Like, good luck. Happy hunting. And then she clicks off.
Captain, does this mean we get to seize the means of production?
Seizing the means of production. This is a relic from Earth history prior to the dismantling of capitalism, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, we will be seizing the means of production.
Red flag.
Setting course,
communism
season the means.
flag. Fucking Russia.
I grew up on an artist commune on Tequila Pride.
So,
You might be surprised, but so did I.
So, Captain,
Not a
I grew up in a
commune
freighter.
with artists.
All right. So there are a few options. You can try to dock a shuttle pod. However, you do know that Director Thalassen has an extensive security force based on Branson's observations. You can also take the risky option of beaming either to the lobby outside of her office or into her office but it is risky. However, it would bypass most of her security measures. So
I have a question. Their power went out recently where we were
Mhm.
when I got infected. So it's possible that any of them got infected, and there might be an area on this ring that does not have direct power.
So it is possible that some of them were infected, although when you synthesized the cure to cure yourself, they probably would have taken that. Because you synthesized enough for, like, not
I
like
guess
a planet,
I'm just
but,
a nice guy. All right, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
So I'd like to conference with my senior staff as we're en route
Okay.
and discuss our options. So in addition to the two, one option that Captain Sitok would propose is that of diplomacy. We have what constitutes the ultimate high ground. And so in any conflict, it is inevitable that we would win. That is the logical conclusion. So perhaps we can convince this individual to surrender rather than fight impossible battle.
Well, you can certainly try hailing.
I'm asking my senior staff what they think of this.
I'm letting you know that as a physical possibility for doing this, you can try hailing.
Also, Captain, I'd have to agree with that. I know I have a reputation for flying by the seat of my pants, but they have a lot of guns, and our transporter technology isn't exactly, maybe in 100 years or so.
Their ring also seems relatively fragile, and we experienced a power outage just while we were there. Now, whether that was a matter of convenience on their part, just to slow us down, which did the exact opposite, it's possible that they are also low on supplies and might be stretched a little more thin than you might suspect otherwise.
Another possibility, the captain of the ship that we fought indicated that this was just a job to him. So perhaps if we get a message to the employees of this corporation and explain to them their dire situation, the CEO may find herself with a sudden lack of troops.
Would it be, you're saying that we open hailing but then broadcast it?
Yes.
Sir,
I like it.
if I may,
They're about to be
I'd
a
like-
state-run agency after this, probably regardless, so...
Well, let's let
Yes, Lieutenant Asha.
I'd like to pursue a course of investigation. The stones. We know the stones used to construct the circle are ancient, and I had wanted to communicate with historians from this planet before, and I feel like that may be prudent. There's perhaps someone who knows more about the stones that we could overload and take away their main advantage and asset, which would increase our footing, so to speak.
How long do we have until we reach the planet?
So you're currently getting there under impulse. It's probably going to take another hour or so. I already played the animation where your ship approaches the planet.
So,
Aww.
yes, while
You
we're
might want to switch
approaching,
us to full screen also.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
while we're approaching the planet, Lieutenant Asha, we'll be putting the con and communications at your disposal. We'll
Thank you,
speak
sir.
directly to the region to put basically I'm going to try to get the region to expedite this process.
Mhm.
However, when we arrive in orbit, we will be acting against them immediately.
Yes, sir.
So, I would like Lieutenant Asha to take a, let's see, what's a good one? I'm going to go with Insight and Science check.
That is the highest I can possibly roll. That is a 17.
Okay, well, good.
Okay. Da, 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 da.
Oh, did I mention that the base that I have for this threat and momentum tracker, one side says threat and momentum and has a Star Trek symbol, a Starfleet symbol, and the other side has a Klingon symbol and says threat and danger in Klingon?
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
That is so
Sorry, it says
cool.
momentum and danger in Klingon.
2 successes.
All right, 2 successes. Well, you have generated a point of momentum. I will let you decide whether you would like to spend it on extra information or whether you'd like to bank it after I tell you what you first learned. So, the planet Fosteran II has been, for as long as any recorded history seems to know, been dotted with the occasional ruins of some previous civilization that themselves don't seem to have left behind any written records. But it seems like, based on the records that you're finding, that this is predating like the Fostarian agricultural revolution that led to the current civilization there. Also, the cities themselves all seem to be somewhat oddly proportioned, as if the people who inhabited them were perhaps significantly taller than the Fostarians of today, although not so much so that they're like, giants or something, right? We're talking like you ever been to like a really old building with those stupid narrow stairs because people used to be shorter?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if one of those people were to visit your house and encounter your weirdly tall stairs, your really tall and broad stairs, and it's like, well, I can use these, but it's
and
weird.
Our countertops.
Yeah,
Jeez.
your countertops are a little bit too high. It's like Chesh walking into a normal house.
Yeah.
Accurate. Can confirm.
Cheshire,
Okay.
like, what, 3'5"?
About that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
Don't forget listen, don't forget, like, the 0.5. It matters.
Oh, okay. 3'5.5. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Don't want to short you that half inch.
Okay.
It's
so
important.
Would you like to spend momentum to learn more, or would you like to bank that momentum?
How much momentum do we have?
You have one momentum that has just been earned by Maddie just now.
Okay. I think I'm okay on learning about ancient cultures. Let's bank that one momentum. I would like to ask a fully different question, if that's okay. Right? Because presumably I'm on the phone with like I'm on a call with some with some dude, right?
Yeah.
Who is not an employee. I was trying to specifically find somebody who is not an employee of the company. Yeah. Like this is the listen.
An
we can
independent.
talk about problems.
Plot twist, he's a professor in
problems in
mutagenics.
academia, but like tenure making you immune to like weird financial manipulation is, not a bad thing in certain situations.
All right, so what is the second question?
Okay. I suspect that I am curious about that first contact situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect that the Immunocorp either made the virus themselves,
Mhm.
right? And like this whole story about that first contact is a fabrication, or they genetically engineered a virus that they did, that was real. And so I'm trying to get information on I'm trying to get information that's like, if we could broadcast this message to the whole planet, it would make everyone turn on Immunocorp immediately.
Take
right?
A reason medicine check to look
Reason
through
medicine.
the reports of the first contact and what happened, to look for any such indications.
Cool.
Oh, you found the amethyst dye? Good job. Nice. All right. So you have generated another point of momentum. I will let you decide whether you want to spend it for more information or just bank it later. So what you have found out, and this is going to be the last check that we can do before we get to the planet, have to start dealing with Director Thlassin. So you have found out that not only are there contemporaneous written accounts, but there's also like people have the ship is in a museum. There's physical evidence of this trip. So it's definitely a real trip that happened. And the ship's log does indicate that someone got sick on the ship after contacting a planet that is nearby and is known to be one of those places that has the, what was the name of that disease it's similar to? Let me double check.
Fever.
Yeah, it's something with an R. No, it's an Anchiles fever. So everything is consistent with the possibility that a mutant strain of Anchiles fever infected a crew member after coming into contact with the inhabitants of another planet and bringing it back.
Okay.
There is not evidence in this historical record that would indicate genetic engineering on the part of Immunicorp, but there's also no way to rule it out, especially since you don't have the full genome of the original virus because of missing parts of the data. Would you like to spend...
And did Immunicorp... So let me know if this requires me to spend momentum, because I don't want to spend momentum, but did Immunicorp exist as a company like prior to First Contact?
Yeah, that is going to cost a momentum.
I'll save 2 momentum for my captain.
Okay.
Because the crew comes first.
Fair enough.
And this is never leave a stone unturned, but also crew comes first.
Well, actually, in that case, I mean, if you want to, I will. Since no one has used a value, I will let you retroactively spend your point of determination and earn a second point of momentum on that basis, which you can use to gain more information.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I would love to use that to gain more information, and I would also love giving you guys we're banking a total of 2 momentum. I'm spending a determination to get the 1, and
so I will answer your question about Immunicorp.
Okay.
Immunicorp.
But I also have Studious, which lets me get 2 questions for 1 momentum.
Okay, well then you will be able to get another question after this. So, yes, Immunicorp did exist before this. However, they were a relatively minor pharmaceutical company, and they only became this like planetary mega corporation after they developed the technology to use the gamma radiation to suppress the virus.
The thick plotins.
Yes.
What is your second question that you would like?
Okay. My second question is...
Yes? You don't have to ask a second question if you don't want to.
I've only got 1 question. Okay. I've only got 1, and I'm debating between 2.
She's got a lot of questions and can only ask 1, and she's trying to figure out how to finagle both questions into 1.
You could pose the 2 questions to the rest of the crew and see what they think.
Okay, team, these are my 2 questions. 1, going back to the pillars, right? Is there a way to overload the power system, right? So we could kill their gamma machine immediately. The reason I ask that is I am concerned that Immunicorp is going to repress because it is advantageous to them to keep the gamma radiation machine on, because without that, it is because of that they control the planet's food and water supply, right? Mm-hmm. Without the gamma radiation machine, presumably normal agricultural could come back. 2, and so, like, can we destroy their, like, mechanism of control? And then the other question would be, this would be like a information kind of thing of, is gamma radiation, like, is this virus that's related to the one that is attacking this planet, is gamma radiation, like, actually the most effective way to deal with it, or was there like another option at the beginning and then Immunicorp was like, no, gamma?
Dr. Skig developed a cure in like 4 hours, so...
That's the thing. Yeah.
But Dr. Skig is from a more advanced society. She has...
It is not fair to compare anyone to me. I am the greatest. However, I do have 1 potential problem I would pose as the medical officer. If we cut off the radiation and the radiation is in fact effective at stopping the virus's spread and how quickly it kills people, do we have the supplies and the capability of dispersing and disseminating this vaccine fast enough that like 30% or higher of the population just get wiped out?
You don't currently know how fast exactly you can make it because you don't have all of the information about the like biosynthesis.
We're also 1 ship compared to an entire populace.
Okay, so let me get the information about like can I get information about, like, can I find information that Immunocorp made this problem worse, right? Or didn't solve it when they could have, to control power, to basically hand over as evidence.
All right. So I will allow that as your second question, and I will say that given the current information you have, you cannot rule that out, but you also cannot demonstrate it conclusively. Yeah. It's certainly a potentially possible thing. Now, one thing is, it is true that the disease that this is similar to, Achilles fever, is not something that is easily treated. And if it at least started out as more similar to Achilles fever than the current strain, it could actually be that they just did not have the specialized medical components and materials that they would need to synthesize a cure, and that the gamma radiation was the only option. However, if it's more similar to the current virus, which can be relatively easily treated with antiviral techniques that you're familiar with, then it would become more reasonable to assume that they just went with the gamma radiation as a means to increase their own bottom line. So it's not clear, but given that you don't have the full genome, you're not sure.
Could also be a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting my stacks of pads together, right? We've got, So I'm doing all of this, and we arrive. I rush to the bridge, rush to wherever you guys are.
The bridge.
Okay, so what is the plan tactically? You can always open a frequency and try to negotiate from the ship.
So this is the plan that I'm thinking. I'm thinking we open the frequency, we broadcast it so this conversation is public, in an effort to demoralize the group. And I tried to convince her to not resort to violence, and I have special things for that too. And hopefully we can just get rid of that.
Can I make a minor suggestion? Don't broadcast it right away so she doesn't know right away that she's being broadcasted.
Can we secretly broadcast it?
It would be hard to secretly broadcast it in a way that would be both publicly accessible and for her not to notice. What you could do is record the conversation and broadcast it afterward.
Sure. Okay.
Get a delay on that.
Right.
Plus, that way you can beep out any swears before they broadcast.
During that conversation, I will insinuate that if she we had the high ground, all that stuff. But if I mention, like, we're going to come take you, I'll insinuate we're going to go to the dock. Because we're not going to the dock. We're going to teleport right to our office.
I see, but you're not going to outright lie because you're a Vulcan.
I would not outright lie. I will simply allow her to draw the wrong conclusion.
That's my favorite type of lying.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys can open a channel. And in fact, Director Thalassen does respond and says, "Oh, I see that you dealt with my strike ship. That's great, but look, you really don't need to be here. In fact, you're probably impinging on our sovereignty. You just... Oh.
Actually, about that, I've spoken to the regent, and according to the laws of your planet, the sovereign entity is not your corporation. It is, in fact, the government led by said regent. I have been deputized and an official arbiter of the law on your planet. Now, I'm sure you noticed the battle that we had against your craft, and I'm sure you're aware that at this point, my ship has the high ground. We can deal with this situation through force, but I'm sure both of us recognizes that that is not an optimal solution. It would be better if you would surrender yourself so no one further is harmed."
You know, I might not be able to pursue you, but I've got this, and I am going to spend a point of momentum, threat, because she picks up a particle rifle. And she presses a button, and the focal length decreases, allowing you to see a wider range of the room. Spend another threat, because in that room are 4 guards who also pull out particle rifles.
That's better than I thought.
She says, "Look, these guys are much better paid and much more loyal than that asshole of a ship captain, who is fired, by the way. So, tell you what. You want to come in and wreck up the place, Go for it. I have my security measures. My personal bodyguards have their particle rifles. Your move.
Okay, so I'm attempting to diffuse the tension.
Okay.
So whenever I have to do a task to convince her not to resort to violence, I can add a d20 to whatever that roll is.
Okay.
And what I'm going to say is, no matter how well paid your guards are, they are not well paid enough, and your rifles are not powerful enough to damage our starship. Mr. Doug, raise shields and power phase cannons.
Doug has this shit-eating grin on his face, like, fuck yeah!
Are you really willing to scatter onto the planet debris from an orbital ring that itself contains not only the only medical facilities capable of helping with this disease, but also highly radioactive material that will, if anything, make the radiation problem on the planet worse? Is that really your plan right now?
No, my plan is to take you into custody and to ensure that you are given a fair and reasonable trial.
Firing your ship's phaser cannons at the ring will certainly not help with that.
However, I am demonstrating to you that ultimately the outcome of this conflict is without doubt. The only question is how long it goes on.
I don't think you're going to fire those phase cannons at the ring. I'm calling your bluff.
Yo, Doug's a sniper.
So, do I get, at any point, am I making a check to convince this lady to give up?
Tell you what, you can make one more plea, and I'll let you roll a check right now. And as long as your, attempt is reasonably aligned to how the check goes, see what happens.
Okay.
This will be 3 dice by default. You can pay the 2 momentum to get a 4th dice if you'd like.
I think we'll do that. Okay. And I'll say, you may not be familiar with our culture, so I would like to share with you one of our guiding principles. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Fewer people would be damaged by the debris than would be damaged by this deadly virus. And so, rest assured, I will do whatever is necessary to save the largest number of people in the fastest manner possible.
And did you take the roll?
Let's go!
What stats am I doing?
So this is going to be a daring and command roll here.
Daring. Oof. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're threatening, ship
but
violence.
I'm doing it with the power of logic.
Yeah, that's great. It's still going to be daring. But
right,
if you would like, you can spend 2 momentum to get a 4th die.
And what's the difficulty of this roll?
Oh, this is going to be a difficulty 3 roll.
Does Doug get to assist by charging the fucking lasers?
I will absolutely let Doug do that with a daring security roll.
Fuck yeah.
Right.
Go, Doug!
I am gonna spend the 2 momentum to roll 4 die.
All right.
Do I roll 1?
Yeah, just roll a 1. If you get under a 10, you help out.
I rolled a natural 20!
Oh no! I add a threat to the pool.
Doug, you mother...
Doug!
I love Doug so much.
All right, but what does Captain Sitok get? Oh,
Captain
goodness.
Sitok rolls 5.
All right, well those 2 momentum are coming back. And Director Thalassan says, I suppose I have nothing to gain by you blasting phase cannons at my ring, but it's my ring, and you aren't going to be taking it from me. But I also see that I have a losing hand here, so I'm going to do this. And she presses a button on her console, at which point she is transported to parts unknown, leaving the office behind, bringing her bodyguards with her, and yeah, now if you teleport to her office, at the very least, you won't be confronted by bodyguards, but you don't know where she went.
Pussed out like a bitch.
Okay. Can Lieutenant Asha use our sensors to try to track this teleportation beam?
Yes, it'll be very difficult, but it is possible.
Okay, what's my role?
So this is going to be a let's see. So it's the trail is fading fast, so it's going to be daring and it's going to be science.
Okay.
We are the least daringest crew.
We're literally a medical emergency
sorry.
ship. Like,
Speak for yourselves. Daring's my next best
let's do
stat.
it. Ford and Doug are in a different show.
This will be assisted though by the ship's sensors and science.
Okay. Does that mean anything to what I roll?
No.
I got it. So the ship sensors science, you said?
Yeah, so this is going to be difficulty 4. You do have 2 momentum that you could spend, and you can also always give me threat.
I preemptively rolled because I didn't know it was a difficulty 4.
We got 1, and it didn't matter how much momentum we spent, it wasn't going to do anything.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I will just say that, no, you are unsuccessful in tracking the transport. However, the only place that she could have transported is either somewhere else on the ring, which doesn't seem like it would help her very much, or somewhere on the planet. So chances are she's now Fosteran II's government's problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Chances are she teleported right in and is currently holding hostage the regent.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was actually about to say we should probably let the region know if she can.
Chances are the region has more bodyguards than the 4 that you saw with Director Thlust.
Hopefully.
So let's
Also,
open the channel.
while you guys are planning, I'm researching stuff, just so you know. So, like, I'm back here, like, my stack of pads is growing, and I'm, like, going through the historical database that's been sent over.
Oh, Vagri's character had a daring of 10. Oof.
Oh!
Yeah. So, let's open a channel to the region.
My daring is 12. I'm the medical officer.
Hey.
Mine's 7.
We need you on the bridge, Dr. Skig.
the region.
Sorry, I'm busy making vaccines for all the billions of people, Captain.
The region appears on screen and says, Captain, have you successfully apprehended Balastra?
What, did Doug not do a good job?
No, he didn't.
That depends on your definition of apprehended.
That would mean that she's currently in your custody and you're ready to deliver her to my custody.
Unfortunately, after negotiations, she has teleported away from her office. But the good news is that we now have control of the ring.
I suppose
or we will shortly.
That now makes her a fugitive. I will see about doing things like freezing her assets with, Immunicorp is not a bank, so they don't actually bank their own money, so that's a plus. That'll make it a lot harder for her to pay her bodyguards who are so loyal. If you could, I suspect that there's probably a ticking time on whether or not her files are going to be erased. Is it possible for you to transport to her office? Because there's probably some time-sensitive evidence there.
We absolutely will.
Okay. So, this is going to be a control engineering check to successfully teleport. If you guys go to the transport room, it's going to be difficulty 1, but it also has a complication range of 2.
Well,
because of your primitive transporter.
I'm actually pretty good at control engineering. I have a 15 with those two together.
Oh, nice.
Well, then why don't you stay behind and let the rest of them beam down? So that means Lieutenant Asha, Dr. Skig, and Ford are going to get on the transporter pad and put their lives in the hands of Captain Sitok, who is apparently a surprisingly good transporter chief.
Well, my background is in engineering in my thing, but they are putting their hands in my hands with the whole rearranging of organs. Captain Sitok will calmly put in the coordinates and prepare the thing, and before he hits energize, Dr. Skig, Mr. Branson, Lieutenant Asha, should any of your organs that are vital for your survival be misplaced, is there anything you would like me to tell your families? No? Live long and prosper.
All right, here we go.
So, control
it's
engineering.
okay, I can fix it.
Yes, control engineering.
Okay.
Not if you're dead.
Uh-oh.
That's bad, but the ship still gets to go, right?
No, because if you don't roll a success, then no amount of aid will actually help. So what's actually happening is you're having trouble locking on, which means that if there is something time sensitive, you might have missed the boat on this one, but you can try again. But no one has been hurt yet.
Oh, at least we didn't get beamed into space.
All right, I'm going to spend momentum this time. So I can roll 3 die, and I'll do it.
Okay. There's one momentum.
All right, 3 successes that time.
Plus 2 momentum gained back. And we're also ending the scene, so that's 1 momentum taken away. You guys are at 2 momentum. And everyone...
It's very confusing sometimes.
But Captain Sitok has successfully beamed down to Director Thalassen's office. Where...
And most importantly, he had a cool line at the end. So.
It's true.
So, the second time.
Her computer is, in fact, still logged in. Because apparently, she's a bit of an idiot.
Yay, she's dumb!
So...
Worst fraud ever.
We are basically at the wrapping up time, so I will let you know that you are able to get ample evidence that while Immunicorp did not create the virus or make it any worse, they did very early on in the pandemic develop a vaccine that was given to high-ranking Immunicorp staff and literally no one else. And that,
that's why they all have hair.
In fact, it is. They, in fact, created this solution, which did work, but also basically made them the de facto rulers of the planet because they were in charge of basically every vital industry. And at any point, they could have simply, distributed the vaccine and ended the epidemic immediately. But they didn't. And so you can transmit that successfully to the regent, who thanks you profusely.
What if we didn't?
Can we say
I guess you don't have to.
that I was my digging through their obscure old ancient legal texts? I found that since the ring is made from things that are of archaeological cultural significance, the corporation actually can't own them.
Yeah.
So
thus removing their primary asset.
It's a Perry Mason moment.
So it looks like that is not actually the law. However, as a result of their numerous crimes as a corporation, as well as numerous crimes committed continuously by the upper management of Immunicorp, the law provides ample opportunity for things like dissolution of the corporation, prison time for the executives. It's going to be a bad time for anyone who's currently
massive fines.
Working. Yeah, massive fine. It's basically Immunicorp is almost certainly going to be dissolved in the coming years. Numerous people are likely to spend some time in a Fostarian prison, and the company is almost certainly going to be dissolved, and various assets of it sold off to other people.
Fancy.
So, you guys can get back to the ship, or if you take a shuttle, or you.
Do I get to give them the beep boop doop doop doop?
Yeah,
here's how you make the thing, and you guys can just pump this out like crazy on this ring. Yep. Good job, everybody.
Yep.
Sweet.
They are able to start synthesizing the cure for not just the new strain, but also the old strain, which will allow them to turn off the gamma radiation, and slowly but surely, the planetary ecosystem will start to recover. So, back on the bridge, the regent says, "Thank you so much, Captain. You have done more than just help us with this crisis. You've given Fosteran II its future back. And it also may be that in the future, my people might get over our reluctance to interact with other species. And who knows, maybe at some point we will go out again, exploring and making friends among the stars, but I don't think we're ready for it yet. But if we ever do get there, it is due to the amazing assistance provided by you and your crew, and I want to say thank you very much. But as it stands now, I don't think that I could have the political capital to allow you to keep hanging out around here because my people are still very xenophobic, and they would rather that you leave, but I do want to say that you have my deepest thanks.
You are very welcome, Regent. Should you require further assistance, please please contact Starfleet.
I will keep that in mind, and as you know, we do have a subspace radio, so that won't be a problem if we need it. And with that,
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. And with that, everybody, congratulations. You guys have cured the plague on Fosteran II, not just with a stopgap, with a permanent solution. You have made it so that they can now turn off the gamma radiation poisoning their planet. You also encountered a so far unsolved archaeological mystery. And you did it all without actually firing any particle phasers and only getting into one ship combat, which is actually pretty good. You guys managed to dissolve the tension in multiple potential combat scenarios. And look, so if this were a campaign, what would happen next is we would have a post-session discussion about who was the person who should get a milestone based on things like who role-played the best, who was instrumental in various scenes and things like that. And that would go into the character advancement system. But because this is a one-shot, we're not going to bother with that. That's okay. We are just going to close this up, and I'm going to remind everyone that next week, at the same time, on the same channel, the plan is to do Power Rangers Jungle Beasts. Maddie will be there. We're going to be having another session of
Deborah,
that.
do you know what's going to be true of this time next week?
Oh, that you're not going to be there?
No. What's going to be true is that my dissertation will be turned in.
Ooh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's due Tuesday.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone who's watching. Thank you, everyone who's playing. I had a lot of fun. We're going to get out of here, and do remember, what the plan is to have a mini campaign with this game set with a different crew on board the USS Lexington, NCC 1709, one of the Constitution-class ships set in the TOS era. And there will be plot threads that continue from this session into that mini-campaign. So, look forward to that. That does not currently have a schedule, or even characters. That is the next Star Trek thing that you can expect from this channel in terms of live streams. Bye, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful time.